Hello, everyone. This is JJ Risha with Pismo Ventures. Thank you for being part of the Startup Symposium. Um, Today is the Life Science Day. This is JJ Risha with Pismo Ventures. We will be presenting companies in alphabetical order, except for the first company, which has requested from us that they present first because they are based out of the US. They're in Europe. They will be presenting first as per their request. We will not be answering any hands raised, or we will not be answering any chats or comments in the chat. So the presentations will go in alphabetical order by company name, and we are starting right now in about a minute or so. All the presentations are recorded. You've already recorded them, so they're being presented per the recording that you as founders have set up and have sent to us. Also, this entire session on Zoom will also be recorded, so it makes it easier for investors to be able to look at all the companies at once. We will start right now with Telexos, which is next generation liquid biopsy for personalized cancer diagnostics. All right, I'm gonna share right now the presentation, and then we'll get started.
Hello, welcome to Telexos. Cancer is still the second leading cause of death worldwide. So I'm sure that all of you know somebody who has or had cancer. My father, my aunt, and a cousin of mine died of cancer. That's why I founded this company. My name is Erhard Fernholz, and I'm the CEO of Telexos, and we're gonna change this. Some statistics. So many of you know that the number of cancer cases are still growing. But alarming is that the number of deaths caused by cancer is also still increasing, although 120 new drugs became available during the last decade. Total cost of cancer are huge. And it's not so much in public that the current success rate in clinical studies in the oncology space dropped to less than 8%. This alarmed the FDA, and the FDA is pressing for much better cancer diagnostics, including early detection, precise characterization of the tumor, and therapy monitoring.
So what are we going to do about it? Hi, I'm Sandra Fernholz. I'm in charge of business development. We offer products for cancer research and cancer diagnostics, as well as services, for example, for drug companies. We want you to know that we're really jumpstarting this company. So all of our knowledge is based on years of evaluation at Roche Diagnostic. We also know the space and our competitors really well, since we're a founding member of the Liquid Biopsy Task Force, where we exchange with others about the challenges and results and knowledge that we see. The liquid biopsy market is a really big one. You can see on the screen an estimation made by JP Morgan, but of course we also did our own calculations. So based on current data, we estimate that this market is larger than $50 billion. Now, liquid biopsy, when we say that, what we mean by that is that we analyze blood samples. And so the advantage of that is that it's non-invasive, patients don't need to recover, and it's repeatable. So when we analyze blood samples, we look for circulating tumor cells. They're the best analytes to take because they contain all the information that we need. Circulating tumor cells are actually the vehicle to form metastases. They're detected in all solid tumors, and current technologies cannot detect all different CTCs, but we can. We offer the first technology which detects, isolates, and characterizes all CTCs in a blood sample. So this actually means finding one CTC in 40 billion cells.
Want to see some data? Here we made a comparison with the market leader, that is CellSearch. So we took blood samples, split it into two parts, and First part was analyzed via cell search. The other one was analyzed via Telexis. And we looked for the number of CTCs. And the difference was dramatic. So we saw many, many more CTCs compared to cell search, and also detected many more CTC positive samples. Then we made a comparison with the routine diagnostics, that's tissue diagnostics based on the marker HER2. So we could confirm the results of the pathologists. It was very, very important. Higher sensitivity was also shown, means that we could identify the false negative one, which has a lot of consequences for the patient. To summarize this, so this technology can really be used for stratify the patients. And we also took advantage of liquid biopsy. So you can take a sample at the beginning of a therapy and the middle of the therapy. He is also based on HER2 positive patients. And you see with the graph, therapies have been successful. In other words, you can use this technology for monitoring. A few words about our core team. So two of the members you see, obviously. And the third one is Emeraldo. He is head of the lab. And we are very happy we have him on board. He is an expert for single cell analysis.
So why should you invest in us? In a nutshell, the market for CTC test kits is huge. It's over $50 billion. We're expecting a very high ROI, and we already have major global diagnostics companies waiting for this breakthrough. Our unique technology has been proven to be very successful, and it's already patented. We have a very experienced management team, and you can help us save millions of lives. So in this round, we're asking for $10 million US, out of which we already have 2 million soft committed. So we're looking for a lead investor to actually move forward with this. Our current cash is going to last for another 10 months.
And you can imagine we passed several, many milestones, and the most prominent one is obviously the quantitative detection and analysis of circulating tumor cells in blood samples. What do we want to do with your money? So we want to expand the team, and we want to bring to the market the first products. And we will continue to expand the portfolio.
So if you have any further questions or you'd like to just talk to us, please reach out in the app or email us via the email address that you can see here on the screen, or join us in our chat room. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, the companies are presenting. These are pre-recorded. There is no way for a Q&A to occur after each presentation at this point. Please, if you are interested as an investor, please reach out to the companies directly so they're able to respond to any questions you may have. We are going to play each of the recorded presentations one after the next. The next one is Eterna. Sorry, don't know how to pronounce that, but there you go. We will play the next presentation right now for Eterna. Here we go.
Hi, everyone. It is my pleasure to be given an opportunity to talk to you all about Eterna. We're a young company recently launched in San Diego, and the goal of our company is to create better treatments for a variety of diseases based on a novel concept we have developed. A bit about myself. After over 25 years of research and drug discovery work in various academic institutions, mostly in Canada, our northern neighbor, I have become very passionate about changing lives of patients with better medicines, for the purpose of which I moved to San Diego and assembled an amazing team of scientists and business development experts to help me on that journey. To better explain the concept, let me talk you through its first application. As many do, I'll start this story on a personal note. My good childhood friend Fiona has 2 sons. One is in high school and one is in elementary school, yet the boys look the same. In fact, Fiona gets asked frequently if she has twins. The reason for that is that Fiona's older son, Ronnie, who is now 14, was born with growth hormone deficiency. In order to grow, fit in with his friends, and stay healthy and strong, Ronnie needed to be injected every single day of his life with a needle containing growth hormone made in the lab, as his body can't make enough on its own. As many families affected by this condition, Ronnie and his parents decided to refuse this effective treatment because of all the pain and embarrassment to the kid, and because of all the costs and inconvenience to the family. Dr. Miller, who is an active part of our team, treats kids with growth hormone deficiency daily and has been sharing with me many more stories of kids like Ronnie. Many families are affected by the condition suffer from daily needle. Little kids are complaining of constant pain at injection site. Adolescents are struggling to organize their lives around constant treatments. Parents are struggling to arrange travel and adhere to daily routines. Now, what if a kid like Ronnie could just go to the nurse's office at his school once a month, quickly get treated, and go on with his life? How different the life of the family would be. For decades, have doctors and their patients been waiting for a solution like yours, says Dr. Miller with excitement. Let's make this happen. So what is so special about our approach? At Eterna, we offer a novel way to treat patients suffering from deficiencies of short-lived hormones. And there are many of such conditions, including rare disease, metabolic diseases, cancer, and more. To offer better life quality to such patients, we will use antibodies, which are one of the longest-lived molecules on the planet. Hence, we call them Eternabodies from the word eternity. Cool name, isn't it? The interesting fact is that when long-lived Eternabody binds its short-lived target, it makes the target live longer, extending the lifespan from minutes to weeks. Hence, instead of injecting the patients every day with the lab-made target that would be cleared from the body in minutes anyways, requiring another injection and another injections, we will make a non-neutralizing antibody for the target, which can be given once a month or less, stabilize the target made by the body itself, and efficiently treat the disease in a much more convenient and less painful way for the patients. Our first application is indeed in growth hormone deficiency, where we have generated an Eternabody that binds human growth hormone and, without interfering with its normal function, makes it to accumulate in the body, as you see here in our mouse work. Upon successful fundraising, we plan to move this Eternabody towards clinical development to help kids like Ronnie grow. And the market for growth hormone deficiency drugs is large and growing fast. In 2030, those drugs are predicted to be sold for over $9 billion US. Pharma has been developing chemically modified versions of human growth hormone. Those may allow for weekly injections, yet they're hard to produce and they may cause toxicity and immune response being foreign to the body. Lower frequency of treatment and the use of physiological, made by the body hormone makes our approach clearly superior, and we plan to become best in class in the HGH market. We're raising our $1.5 million pre-seed that would allow us to develop HGH program through monkey studies towards development candidate, as well as to launch another program in a metabolic space by the end of next year. We plan to become clinical stage biotech in 2027, having IND filed for the growth hormone asset and pre-IND studies initiated for the other program. The summary of the proposed deal, company structure, and the proposed milestones are presented here. I will be very happy to explain it in more details and to introduce you to the rest of the team if you want to learn more about Eterna and consider joining us in our journey to make better medicines for many patients. Let's work together to improve lives of kids like Ronnie, their families, and our community as a whole. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much. Now we move to the next presentation. Again, if you are interested in reaching out to the entrepreneurs, to the startups, please reach out to them directly. You can reach out to them via email. You could chat with them online or set up a time to meet with them via the booking feature that we have. Next is Aridica with Polani. Aridica is automation technology to harness the potential of the immune system.
My name is Palani Palaniappan, CEO of Aridica. We are on a crusade to accelerate scientific discoveries and medical innovation in the field of immunology. We intend to do this by bringing forward automation technologies that radically simplify the workflow challenges in this field. Now, speaking of immunology, a concept called living drugs, wherein the patient's own immune cells are isolated, re-engineered, reintroduced, has brought forward people from their deathbeds. Now approved for blood cancers, there is an explosion of immunology research for the same benefits in other forms of cancers, as well as new disease modalities like autoimmune disorders. Now, the field is faced with substantial hurdles with workflow challenges. Speaking of workflow challenges, the very first step in the field of immunology is isolating immune cells from the blood. Now, for 50 years, this has remained arcane. Multi-touch, multi-hour, highly skilled labor dependent, centralized logistics. Samples have to be processed within 36 hours of collection. Incredible plastic and medical waste. Above all, the biggest challenge is sample consistency and lack of scalability. And Aridica has resolved all these challenges by bringing forward a simple, elegant, IP-protected technology, a centrifuge small enough with an associated microfluidic consumable. All the user has to do is to apply the blood and a few reagents and push go. 25 minutes later, all the components of the blood come in different tubes. Novice friendly, less than 30 minutes, decentralized, even at the point of collection, above all, planet safe. But the biggest advantage is sample consistency every time, regardless of the operator. Sounds too good to be true? Not really. Within a year of forming the company, we have this consumable in the state of industrializing. We can make them in the millions now for a few dollars a unit. As we speak, the instrument component is being made. Within a few months, we'll have the first working engineering prototype. Shortly after, we will have the first biology working prototype. Now, we have done an extensive market survey. Customer enthusiasm is quite high, as you can see. Our favorite quote here is, we will give our firstborn if we resolve this challenge. Customers are willing to collaborate, co-create, and even want to have early access, willing to pay a high premium. Now, the market for this is quite big. Research, diagnostics, and therapeutics. Same underlying technology with increasing regulatory burden. We intend to get into the research market first, given the large customer base growing at double-digit growth, just barely scratching the surface. First year of launch will be breaking even. 3 years after launch, as you can see in the bottom, exciting top line and bottom line, thereafter an improving margin going forward. Now, who's behind this? A set of highly accomplished people, proven leadership in the relevant fields, immunology, blood separation on the inside. On the outside, we have the support of acclaimed leaders like Stan Lapidus and Joydeep Goswami. Now we are raising capital. Within 1 year, we've raised $1.1 million. Most of that has come from private investors or safe notes. We also recently won a substantial Colorado State grant. Today, we're raising $900K to finish out our seed round in the form of SAFE. Now, we're not stopping here. We have an exciting line of products that's going to change the field of immunology going forward. Let me bring you home. The field of immunology is going through an explosion of research stemming from the living drug concept. Quite a few arcane workflow challenges to overcome. Auridica has a unique IP-protected technology that's highly reproducible and scalable. Developed by proven team, supported by good advisors, massive customer enthusiasm, we are primed to make a difference. We are raising capital. We've raised $1.1 million so far. We're raising $900K to close out our seed round through Safe Notes. Come join this incredible mission of saving lives, saving planet. Do social goodness while enjoying economic rightness. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Palani. Also, I just want to mention that Palani has a roundtable tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Please join our Palani's roundtable by logging in and then clicking on the roundtable menu item, so you're able to join Palani and Charlie for Auridica's roundtable discussing their technology. Thank you very much, Palani. Next is Avant Guard, bio-inspired antiseptic to mitigate Candida auris and more. Don't know how to pronounce that, but there you go. Thank you very much, and Avant Guard.
Hi, I'm Ted Eveleth, CEO of Avant Guard. We're developing a topical treatment for cutaneous infection of Candida auris. Candida auris is on the CDC's list of priority pathogens. When you have a cutaneous infection, you have a 20% chance of developing a systemic infection, and a systemic infection has a 40% mortality rate in 30 days. That high mortality rate is problem number one. At the moment, our best treatments develop resistance during treatment. So the recommendation is not to treat cutaneous infections, but to wait for a systemic infection. Now, problem number two is that cutaneous infection is highly contagious. Within 4 hours, the fungi can shed from a patient's skin and contaminate surfaces around them and colonize other patients. Now, there is no current protocol for eliminating cutaneous infection, and the pathogen can reside on your skin for as long as 8 months. That makes it very different from every other infectious disease that we're treating, which usually has less than a 14-day period under which you would exercise contact precautions to keep other patients safe. Now, contact precautions can cost as much as $158 every day. Which leads us to the third problem, and that caseloads are increasing quickly. Awareness and screening have not been sufficient. It's estimated that by 2024, we will exceed $1 billion in expenses, mostly focused on contact precautions alone. Now, with even a medium rate of increase, given our historical rates of increase, that could be a $5 billion problem by 2028. And it's not exactly clear how that trajectory is going to change with any of our current products or protocols. Now, the quickest way to stop Candida auris deaths is to treat cutaneous infections, because then there'll be no systemic infection and no chance of mortality. It is very unlikely that we will develop a new antifungal that will reduce the mortality rate to 0, so we will always be worried about cutaneous infection. And our best approach to that is a topical, non-resistance generating treatment. And we have developed that by modeling our own immune system. Our neutrophils create a compound called taurine chloramine that has broad spectrum efficacy that quickly kills everything with no resistance generation. Now, the problem with taurine chloramine is it's not stable outside our body. We have developed another chloramine we call avantamine. It has all the benefits of taurine chloramine, but also has a 3 to 5 year shelf life. We've included avantamine in different products and tested them in a in vivo topical antifungal pilot against trichophyton rubrum at the University of Miami in a porcine model. Compared ourselves to miconazole and chlorotrimazole, both in a liquid and a gel, and both on the applied. We found that our liquid is as good as miconazole, our gel is as good as chlorotrimazole, and the combination therapy achieved greater results than either of them. We also did some antibacterial testing as well to show that we were better than povidone iodine. But the histology on that test showed the very similar safety status to current antifungals. There was no adverse healing events for a partial thickness wound, which was needed to make it easy to generate pathogenic biofilms. Now, we also tested ex vivo on porcine skin against chlorhexidine, which is the current standard of care, which is not effective at decolonizing Candida auris, and showed that the combination therapy of the liquid and the gel was able to achieve full kill, where chlorhexidine was only able to achieve 3 log reduction by itself. So we are developing the decolonization protocol. We hope to submit an IND towards the end of 2025 or early 2026 and start clinical trials as quickly as possible. We expect accelerated review based on the qualified infectious disease product designation or even potentially an orphan drug. We expect in 2028 to get approval generally for fungal skin infections, which is a $4 billion market right now, excluding any products for Candida auris. We believe we can pivot fairly quickly to a healthcare antiseptic, to an oral antifungal, or an oral gingivitis, which represents about a $25 billion potential market. So far, we've raised a little over $1 million. We're in the midst of a seed round, a $5 million seed round with $2.8 million in the bank. We will expect to get additional grant funding. We've already been successful with grant awards up to $9 million for a variety of agencies. So we put together a team that is effective. The avantamine is actually part of a polymer chain, much like povidone is a polymer that stabilizes iodine. And so we have expertise in polymer chemistry, fractional CSO from Evidera PPD, as well as regulatory people. We have a board that's comprised of experienced business people, including John Rich, who's been chairman and CEO of a $1 billion publicly held company. And we started our life in IndieBio, and so we have funding from SOSV. So as I said, we're in the midst of a seed round. We have $2.8 million in the bank. It's a safe a form of investment, and we are glad to talk to you if you are interested in participating. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ted. I want to apologize. Earlier, I said that Polanyi's roundtable is tomorrow at 10. I made a mistake. It is at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. So please join their table. Also, visit Polanyi, which is Aridica. Visit their exhibit booth as well online, so you're able to see additional documentation as well. The same applies to TED and Avant-Garde. Avant-Garde has a roundtable tomorrow and the day after. Actually, let me confirm that. It is, yes, tomorrow and the day after, so it's Tuesday and Wednesday between 1 and 2 p.m. Pacific time, 1 and 2 p.m. Pacific time. Please visit also Avant-Garde's exhibit booth as well, so you're able to learn more about them. Again, please reach out to all the startups directly for additional information and Q&A. Next is a Brainstorm Therapeutic. Thank you.
Team BST from Brainstorm Therapeutics is integrating advanced machine learning with patient-derived midbrain organoids to discover disease-modifying therapies for Parkinson's disease. By combining midbrain organoids with foundation model-based network analysis, we fine-tuned SCGPT on familial PD organoid data, creating a model that accurately reflects dopamine neuron degeneration. This enables detailed mapping of disease mechanisms and identification of new therapeutic targets and biomarkers often missed by traditional methods. Our CNS drug discovery platform at Brainstorm utilizes patient-derived brain organoids. These organoids recapitulate complex disease pathologies in a model that's amenable to high-throughput screening using clinically translatable biomarker endpoints. We complement this approach using advanced network medicine to discover novel druggable targets and biomarkers, and to stratify patient populations for clinical trials. For our hackathon project, we focused on Parkinson's disease, a progressive terminal neurodegenerative disorder characterized by the loss of midbrain dopamine neurons. PD affects 10 million people worldwide, making it the second most common neurodegenerative disorder. But despite substantial investments in research, there are no approved disease-modifying therapies due to the lack of predicted translational models for drug discovery. Our patient-derived midbrain organoids accurately simulate dopamine neuron degeneration, helping to fill this critical gap. Our goal for this hackathon was to build a foundation model-based organoid gene network to improve Parkinson's disease drug discovery. Midbrain organoids from patient-derived GBA1 mutant iPSCs exhibit robust and reproducible dopamine neuron loss. As shown in the left panel, we established the reproducibility of gene expression across organoids from different patients and different batches by analyzing bulk RNA-seq data. Traditional gene set enrichment analysis of this data gave a high-level overview of critical dysregulated processes. These results confirm the ability of the midbrain organoid platform and the integrity of the data that we'll use to build our network. For this project, we developed a foundation model-based network analysis workflow, utilizing published pre-trained single-cell foundation models, including SCGPT and GeneFormer within the NVIDIA BioNeMo framework. By fine-tuning the model with midbrain organoid data, we created a network that captures Parkinson's disease-specific biological processes, enhancing target discovery and translational research. The workflow includes dimension reduction, community detection, and cluster annotation, allowing us to identify disease-specific gene clusters linked to known biological processes. The established network enables the exploration of gene expression studies, enhancing our understanding of the disease model and drug mechanisms. We also created an interactive website for analyzing the organoid network, allowing users to evaluate gene clusters and disease mechanisms. Different nodes represent genes, and they cluster by similar expression profiles. For example, red nodes here indicate upregulated genes in GBA1 PD organoids, while blue nodes show downregulated genes, reflecting changes consistent with dopamine neuron loss and neuronal precursor function. We validated our approach by using rigorous benchmarking to compare different foundation models, including SCGPT and GeneFormer, as well as traditional clustering algorithms, such as HCWGCNA, to assess the performance in capturing PD-relevant pathways. The fine-tuned SCGPT model outperformed all the others in detecting processes critical to PD pathology, such as neurogenesis and cell cycle dysregulation. Our patient-derived midbrain organoid models effectively captured major pathogenic pathways in PD, especially in dopamine neurons. Bulk RNA-seq analysis revealed consistent downregulation of genes involved in neurogenesis and cell differentiation, aligning with findings in actual PD patient tissue. We also discovered cell cycle dysfunction, likely resulting from disease-related defects in neuronal precursor differentiation. In the single-cell sequencing, we saw consistent changes in neurogenesis and cell differentiation in two different patient-derived organoid models, which carry distinct mutations in the GBA1 or LRRK2 genes. We also saw processes that differ between these two genotypes, such as lipid metabolism in the GBA1 organoid and oxidative phosphorylation in the LRRK2 organoid. This highlights the platform's potential as a clinical trial in a dish for Parkinson's disease. In conclusion, our foundation model-based network analysis utilizing human iPSC-derived midbrain organoids has successfully captured key biological processes involved in PD progression. The SCGPT fine-tuned model offers new opportunities for drug target discovery and biomarker identification. Future steps include using this platform for in silico perturbation screening to simulate drug responses and identify potential therapeutic candidates and biomarkers. We plan to integrate models like NVIDIA BioNeMo version 2 and expand our analysis to other neuropsychiatric and neurodevelopmental disorders, transforming drug discovery in these fields. During the hackathon, we formed a collaborative team, including members from Brainstorm Therapeutics, alongside Birkin and Anna, who are experts in machine learning and data processing, and Jens, who provided us with valuable organoid data sets. Thank you for your attention, and feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. Some great presentations, very clear and concise to the point. Again, please, if you are interested in any of the startups that are presenting, please reach out to them directly. You can review the videos, and also you're able to reach out to them via email, via text chat, video chat, and or book an appointment with them. Next is Cellway.
Hello, great pleasure to present here. I'm Özge Zorlu, co-founder and CTO of Cellway. At Cellway, we are committed to address the unmet needs in cancer treatment through our proprietary technologies and products. Our focus is on unlocking the potential of circulating tumor cells for precision oncology and personalized treatments through our sample-to-answer solution. Cancer care has evolved significantly over the last 10 years, with increased number of immuno-oncology drugs being approved for many cancers. Still, the response rate of these drugs are as low as 20% due to imprecise matching of the patient with the therapy. Cancer changes over time, so continuous monitoring is crucial, and monitored biomarkers must present the time-dependent progression of cancer. Only with this we will be able to give the right oncology treatment to the right patient at the right time. The gold standard in cancer care is solid biopsy, giving both genomic and expression level information about the current state. However, it's a risky and painful process, so it cannot be easily repeated. Liquid biopsy is minimally invasive and repeatable. Current ctDNA-based liquid biopsy technologies provide genomic-only information. However, many cancer therapies require protein expression analysis on tumor cells that ctDNA cannot provide. We can get this information from circulating tumor cells. CTCs are very rare cells that are detached from the tumor and circulate in the bloodstream. As intact tumor cells, they carry comprehensive information about the cancer of the patient. Two important biomarkers expressed by cancer cells and that we are initially focused are PD-L1 and HER2. There are a number of targeted treatments for PD-L1 and HER2, but these treatments are currently prescribed based on the tissue biopsy. Cellway enables continuous blood-based expression analysis of these biomarkers, and continuous monitoring is crucial for the success of these therapies. Total market for this case for lung, colorectal, and breast is $17 billion. We offer an end-to-end solution to address this market. The blood sample collected from the patient is processed through our patented microfluidic chip, which isolates very rare circulating tumor cells in blood in a label-free way with up to 80% recovery and in less than 10 minutes. A small benchtop instrument runs the process, and the collected cells are then characterized by our standardized immunofluorescent assays for CTC identification and for specific expression analysis such as HER2 and PD-L1. This sample-to-answer workflow is integrable to clinical and research settings. Looking at the competition, Cellway offers the best-in-class combination of high CTC recovery and short process time together with assay integration as a standardized workflow. Our cost efficiency also brings advantage for a decentralized solution over very high-cost competitors or laboratory-developed test-based service suppliers. We have analytically demonstrated best-in-class CTC recovery even for very few number of CTCs and optimized our assays, delivering key proof points for our minimal viable product. One of our biggest advantages is our privileged access to clinical samples for validation through our network of key opinion leaders. We have recently published the results of our first clinical study with 20 early-stage prostate cancer patients. Currently, we are running a 350-patient clinical study on non-small cell lung, breast, and colorectal cancer with 4 large hospitals serving a population of more than 10 million people. The study aims to optimize and demonstrate SalSage's analytically validated workflow with clinical samples. We have already processed more than 250 clinical samples and recorded around 70%, a very high CTC positivity rate with the optimized workflow. Up to now, we raised $5.5 million of equity and R&D grants, and we have developed and launched our products as research use only. We also set strong clinical partnerships and enabled instant access to clinical samples. Currently, we are seeking 1.5 million euros as a bridge round, which in 12 months will mainly be used to launch a validated portfolio of assays for 2 precision oncology applications in breast and lung cancer. 1/3 of this round is already secured, and most of the resources will be used for external clinical validation and commercialization activities. This round will be followed by Series A, which will carry us to FDA filing through pivotal clinical studies. Our business model is based on recurrent B2B sales of chips and assays. We recently signed our first commercial contract with a clinical laboratory. Another one is on the way, and we are in discussion with a pharma company to have our products used in their drug clinical trials for indications and efficacy assessments. With our focus on therapy selection and monitoring in precision oncology market, we are expecting first revenues in 2025 and see an exit window around 2028-29 after the FDA filing. We have a very strong and dedicated team to deliver our plan. As 3 co-founders, Haluk, Ebru, and myself, we are working together for more than 15 years, starting from the academia. Andrew is stepping in as a partner after the bridge round. We have an interdisciplinary R&D team of 12 people for product validation. We have advisors both for technical development and business advisory. Our clinical advisory board provides us invaluable support and guidance as well as leading our clinical studies. In summary, we offer a validated end-to-end solution for targeted and timely treatment of some of the most pressing unmet needs in precision oncology. We are raising 1.5 million euros to reach our next critical value inflection point of achieving full validation of 2 precision oncology assays. We will be very happy to see you joining our round and walk the next mile together.
Thank you very much. Again, just to inform all the investors that each of the presentations should have
Please
a
feel
summary
free to
page.
contact me at ozge.zorlu@salsway.com for any questions and comments. Thank you.
The summary page would look like this, and it includes basically information about what's being raised, what are the terms, number of board seats, milestones they want to hit with the capital raise. So each of the presentation at the very end has a summary. I wanted to mention that so that it's easy for the investors to really get a recap on each of the companies. So the last slide of each presentation includes a series of questions that have been answered. Also, I want to mention that all the pitch decks are also available online, not only the video presentations. Okay, we'll go to the next company now, and that is Diagnostic Ventures.
Hi, my name's Brian Bentley. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Diagnostic Ventures. The reason I got involved with this technology is because when I was a senior in high school, my father was in a serious accident. He was burned over 30 to 40% of his body, and we thought that was the worst of it. But it turns out you often get infections with those type of accidents, and he got staph infection. He got septic and almost died, but fortunately, because he was in the hospital, he got the right treatment and he was able to live. So what is sepsis? Sepsis is a life-threatening bloodstream condition, and truly time lost is a life loss. In the US, you're more likely to get sepsis and or die from it than the top 5 cancers combined, or a heart attack or a stroke combined in any given year. In the world, it's a huge problem as well. 50 million cases, 11 million deaths. That's like the whole country of Portugal being wiped out. 1 in 5 deaths worldwide. In the US, it's a big problem as well. Lots of infections and deaths. It's the #1 cause of hospital deaths, #1 cause of readmission in the US, and it's a 62 billion burden to hospitals in our country. So why is it so hard to find these bacteria? Well, in 1 ml of blood, there's 5,500,000,000 particles. We're looking for like 4 to 10 in that. The standard of care currently is a blood culture that requires 12, 48, 72 hours to get results. So separating the pathogens from the whole blood has been the biggest challenge until now. We got licensed technology from BYU, and they got 5.2 million in funding from NIH to develop this spinning disc technology. Basically, we spin 7 mLs of blood for less than a minute to speed up. It starts separating. It keeps the pathogens on the inside with the plasma and the red and white blood cells to the outside. After that step, we are working with a local company in Salt Lake with a patent pending on their DNA extraction. Takes about 3 minutes to get results from that. We then put it into a qPCR assay that we have patent pending. We'll be adding more and getting results in an hour. And getting results down to 4 to 10 CFU is clinically significant for a doctor. Every hour counts. Mortality rates go up by almost 8% every hour that sepsis is untreated. However, studies show that 80% of deaths could be prevented if doctors can start proper treatment in 1 to 3 hours, and we can do that. Myself, I've been in sales and business development leadership for over 30 years, worked with Baxter, my co-founder, Devin. I've worked with them for 6 years, lots of experience in operations and business development. We have some seasoned professionals that are advising us, and we'll look to bring them full time once we get funding. Anthony and Ghazi, with 25 years plus of experience and with some big companies in the industry. Dr. Robinson and Dr. Pitt were the original inventors at BYU. They are working with us to improve it and perfect it. Dr. Hill is working on another project for us. And Dr. Matt Alder is our Chief Medical Officer. Lots of experience in sepsis research and clinical use. So, unfortunately, this is a growing problem, 12.3 CAGR. And so between now and 2030, our TAM and SAM and SUM will all double, 6.6 billion to 13.3. Our projections will have a loss the first year. We plan to get to market after FDA approval in 2026, and then healthy revenue and EBITDA. Now, some of our competitors, GenMark and bioMérieux, they take about 16 hours longer to get results. It's because they need a blood culture. We can do it 16 hours faster. We're going to have about the same amount of targets. Our equipment and tests are less expensive as well. T2 Biosystem is not really a competitor because they don't have very wide targets. And people should not get confused with companies like Intellacet, or Cytobel, and Inflammatics. They do not give ID on the pathogens. They can just say if you do or do not might have sepsis. And what's next? We believe this technology is a platform, and we have proof of concept on a 2.5 hour AST or antimicrobial susceptibility test. It's a $3 billion market, and we believe we'll have the holy grail of infectious disease with these two technologies. To de-risk the investors' money, we're talking to government agencies, NIAID. They also have a diagnostic development service and USAMRIID. And so the amount, and we're already have discussions with them. And so we're pretty excited about that. And why should you invest with us? Basically, Roche bought one of our competitors for $1.8 billion in 2021 at 10 times revenue. We're 16 hours faster, we're more economical, have the right team and connections to scale. And this is our deal information, raising $4 million, convertible or safe, open to working with people. Love to talk to you. Thanks. Hi, my name's Brian Bentley. I'm the CEO. Love to talk.
Again, thank you very much. This is again a slide with the deal information and summary of the terms. So all the companies that are presenting should have that on their last page to make it easier for the investors to get a recap. Also, I want to mention that I'll repeat, I guess, this is being recorded and also will be available on YouTube tomorrow morning, and it will be on the platform for each individual company as well. Next, we have Glucoset.
I'm Nicholas Elvemo, medical doctor, CEO, and founder of Glucoset. Patients in a coma in the ICU may look calm on the outside, but underneath the surface, there's a chaotic and powerful current of hormones and cytokines going on that make them insulin insensitive. That causes high blood glucose or hyperglycemia, which increases risk of infection, sepsis, arrhythmia, kidney injury, death. Like in diabetes, the treatment for high glucose like this is insulin injections. But unlike diabetics, the insulin needs can change drastically hour by hour as that biological chaos shifts. So in the US today, nurses spend 20% of their time manually drawing blood for glucose tests in ICU patients on IV insulin, but patients are still at risk of dangerous highs and lows. And in fact, the current practice is so imperfect and costly that CMS has decided to demand reporting on glucose KPIs from US hospitals, and financial penalties are just around the corner. Continuous glucose monitors exist for diabetics, but they fail in the ICU because they measure tissue and not blood glucose. And unfortunately, that matters a lot in ICU patients. Our patented sensor solved this by being thin as a hair so that it can access blood through existing catheters without poking new holes in the patients. And as you can see from our first in human data, this approach works. We then provide real-time readings to the nurse through patient monitors at the bedside. Our business model will be to sell disposable sensors at a high margin and reusable monitors at a low margin to the ICU through distributors. We're not alone in trying to enter this market, but of all options in development, we have the only minimally invasive and reliable real-time glucose monitor, and we're unique in our ability to meet the must-have requirements of most users. We have interested early adopters, but more importantly, the average ICU director says this is something they need and are willing to pay for in a large share of their patients, and that share becomes higher when we eventually get reimbursement and effectiveness data on the device. The reason it's so high to begin with is that customers know that this is important, and our product is the missing puzzle piece for them to solve their problems with glycemic control. This is a $1.7 billion market, and we will enter through cardiac surgery, where the financial incentives are already in place and the evidence is strong. Heart surgery is the first indication, which is a big ICU patient group. While we wait for the 510(k) clearance, we will do a pilot launch in Austria and Switzerland. We start our first inpatient trial in a few weeks, testing on 30 patients, and we have a clear plan for CE mark and 510(k) clearance, which we've discussed with the FDA. We've already secured international venture capital for the ongoing round, and we're now looking for medical device investors with a network in the US for the next round. We're a team of experienced medical device professionals, and we're working with KOLs and our contract manufacturers to make sure this product both meets user needs and is manufacturable at scale when we launch. Improving and eventually automating insulin therapy in the ICU is just the first use case for our technology, as the hardware we're taking to market is capable of significantly improving and automating many common life-saving therapies in the ICU. I was asked to make the last slide about the terms of our ongoing round. In 5 to 6 weeks, when we begin generating data from our 30-patient trial, we will close our $6 million round, which was led by an international medtech VC. The second closing happens on the same terms as the first closing 18 months ago, which I think is a pretty sweet deal. But of course, investors who want to wait and see what the clinical data says are welcome to get acquainted now so that we can get back in touch for the larger round in 2025. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have hepatic. Again, please reach out to the startups and the founders that you find of interest to you, to your fund, and to your thesis of investment. Please reach out to them via email or via the tools that are available online. Here we go.
Hello, everyone. I am Deepu Ghosh, Chief Executive Officer of Hepatic Inc. We're the creators of a software product called Hepatic, which provides much better liver disease diagnostics. It's FDA cleared, and we're offering free trials for new customers to spur adoption. This is a problem we're trying to solve. What you see here is a very sick liver. The whitish areas are scar tissue caused by fibrosis. And that's what every test that's in the market right now is measuring. It's the amount of fibrosis. The problem is the liver regenerates. The bumps you see on the surface there is actually new liver growing. Even more important, the body increases blood flow to the liver to compensate for the fibrosis. And all the existing tests miss the regeneration and the effect of the hemodynamics. And that's what we measure, is we measure the amount of functioning tissue that's still remaining, or the liver functional reserve. To use a car analogy, all the other tests are measuring the air in the gas tank. It won't tell you how far the car is going to go. We measure the gas in the gas tank. This is how we do it. The physician caring for the patient refers them to radiology or nuclear medicine for a SPECT scan using a standard isotope. It's a 20-minute scan. The images are uploaded to our server in the cloud, and it are processed automatically by computer. In a few minutes, the hepatic report is downloaded. Nuclear medicine gets $1,400 or more from insurance, and they pay us $95 out of that. The economics of this for the hospital are compelling. If they did just one scan per day, they would make more than $300,000 even after our fees using their existing equipment, staff, infrastructure. We have protected this technology. We have 4 issued US patents, 1 more in the works, and we have foreign patents. We have 9 registered trademarks, 1 more in the works. There's 30 years of research supporting hepatic, and they show that function outperforms fibrosis in predicting patient outcomes. This chart shows a hepatic in comparison with the other tests that are out there. Biopsy is the most comprehensive, but it's invasive and expensive and has some risks. We believe once hepatic is widely adopted, there will be no need to do a biopsy. Elastography is very popular right now, but it's very limited. It's measuring the amount of scar tissue. And we believe this will wither away as hepatic takes hold. Blood tests are inexpensive and cheap, and they'll always be around, but they're also looking at the effects of fibrosis. So anybody who's got abnormal blood test should get referred for a hepatic test. I purchased a market research report from a third party, and they estimate the liver diagnostics market worldwide is huge, 11 billion and growing. It's a serious problem because there are 2 million deaths from liver disease annually. That same firm also looked at all the players in the liver diagnostics market. We were mentioned, and I look at these companies as potential acquirers of Hepatic Inc. down the road. What we are doing right now is promoting directly to physicians. In fact, I'm at the RSNA conference in Chicago today while I record this in my hotel room. I have significant amount of skin in this venture. I put in more than $1 million cash into the company myself. This is my team. I plan to add more sales and marketing staff once this additional financing is secured. So to summarize, the reasons to invest in hepatic are, it's the only test that quantifies liver function. Everything else is looking at fibrosis. We have the IP. We're FDA cleared. It's a pure software product, so there's no manufacturing cost. Once the customer is set up, everything hitting the top line flows directly to the bottom line. Giant market, and the economics are a no-brainer for the customer. They make money and we make money when they make money. If hepatic is widely adopted, I can see an exit scenario where we're doing more than $100 million a year in revenue and somebody buys us out for $70 or more per share. Right now, we're offering 3 million shares at $2 per share for a $6 million raise in 1 or 2 tranches. So if you want to help make liver diagnosis better, please contact me at dghosh@hepatic.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Again, please reach out via email, text, or tools online. Next is Ivy.
Hi there, my name is Rachel Bartholomew. I am the CEO and founder of a company called High Ivy Health. We are headquartered in Canada, but located in also Chicago and the UK. And we're working on the first remote therapeutic monitoring and therapy device for gynecology and pelvic health. I created High Ivy because I wanted to ensure that every single patient receives treatment after I went through the unfortunate process of getting cervical cancer at 28 years old and living this experience out myself. I'm targeting a global gynecology and pelvic health crisis with High Ivy, targeting the 1 billion women globally who deal with chronic pelvic pain, and targeting that $96 billion annual cost to just treat chronic pelvic pain alone in the conditions. The reason why this is so extensive is an 85-year-old standard of care called the vaginal dilator, which is actually just a glass test tube that's handed out at cancer centers and beyond, is what is currently given to patients. And doctors, unfortunately, are not seeing uptake in the use of this device. So they're seeing up to 7-year-long waiting lists across the globe to see patients dealing with chronic pelvic pain. This is why we've created our remote monitoring solution. Think of it as a CPAP machine, but for gynecology and pelvic health. We have a device that does multiple therapeutics. So we do dilation, hot and cold, and drug delivery. And we have multiple biosensors integrated into this, collecting data. That data is sent to a patient app where we get self-reported data. We track that progress and then connect them directly to the clinician through the cloud to our clinician software, where essentially that remote therapeutic monitoring is being conducted. What we're seeing out of the use of our device in clinical trials and in our health economic studies is that we're having extreme success in our patient physiological function in things like muscle tension, pelvic pain, bowel and bladder functions, but we're seeing great clinic to patient relationships. So things like satisfaction and retention, great benefits in terms of adherence and self-management, and those clinics actually seeing reductions in their costs and their waiting lists, as well as readmissions. And what I'm really excited about is the potential of the data that we're getting out of this device. We're seeing progress in our patients up to session 4 of using the device. We're actually seeing ability to measure pain responses and the de-escalation of the nervous system response. We're able to track biofeedback from muscles and the tissue. And we're actually seeing trends not only in hormone and cortisol tracking, but also acute inflammation and the presence of that inflammation or active infection. So these are things that we're now researching. We're the first to bring this therapy and this technology to this market. Most of our competitors are really low tech solutions. And so we're the first that are validated in multiple indications, have this at home, and have the data for the doctors to monitor. But really our bigger strategy here is creating the largest novel gynecological and pelvic floor database and data set that we can use to eventually predict and prevent solutions or conditions from reoccurring. We follow a really proven, well-established business model that's actually starting to improve through Medicare and Medicaid. We essentially provide remote monitoring services to the provider with a device and our solution. They bill the insurance, they get $165 US back, and we invoice a flat fee of $110 per month per patient. And essentially, this is something that's used in respiratory and other musculoskeletal conditions. We have an amazing leadership team with engineers who've been in this space for up to 15, 20 years. I'm a Femtech leader. I run Femtech Canada, where I cover 165 Femtech companies across Canada. And we have amazing advisors and researchers who are working with us across 3 different countries in order to advance our development, our business, and our product and our research. And we've had significant traction. So we have about 9 patents currently pending and granted in this space. We've raised about 5.5 million Canadian in both private and non-dilutive funding. We've gotten the green light through the FDA for our HDX code, so we can go through a 510(k) under a predicate. We have 2 Health Canada approvals right now for investigational use, and that's helped us launch into our ongoing current clinical trials in both cancer and endometriosis in Canada. And we have 2 others currently in development in the US. And where we're headed, we are headed for a full FDA approval for Q2 of 2025. We will then be doing our alpha launch into 2 clinics in Pennsylvania and Colorado to test out our reimbursement model. We'll then be looking to do a beta launch with 25 clinics we have right now onboarded in California, where reimbursement is 100%. And we'll be looking then to scale into 5 additional states, expand our on-label use, and eventually looking into the EU and UK for global expansion, where we actually are a Class 1 device. And for our financial projections, really focused on 2025, that alpha launch and getting that reimbursement tested, that will then go into a beta launch for our 2026, where we will be working with about 100 doctors or so and scaling then into the other states and then globally looking into an expansion on our revenue as well as building out our team. So our current round right now is our seed round. We have closed 2.1 million Canadian, and that has given us 18 months of runway and has been spent majority on our regulatory and clinical. We have about 800,000 left on a top up for this. That was approved by our lead investor, Zambon. It is a pref share round. We have an 8 million post money valuation Canadian. We do have board observer seats available and 3 board members currently sitting in there. We have a cash burn of about 80 to 100K Canadian, and essentially this money gets us a product ready for market through that alpha launch, through our 2 clinical trials, and out the other end with full FDA approval. And then what we'll be looking to do is go out for a Series A shortly after, and essentially looking at doing growth and marketing and sales, really focusing on commercialization and global reach with that money. Thank you so much for your time today, and happy to connect and looking forward to speaking with you further. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Great presentation as well here, very crisp and clear. Again, please reach out to Rachel if you're interested in her company. Next, we have Jelica Light.
Hi, I'm Katya Sverdlov, CEO of Jelica Light, where we've created the very first FDA breakthrough device for the neurological treatment of autism. Autism rates keep rising, yet there are currently no FDA-approved pharmaceutical or device treatment for this lifelong disorder. With 30% of affected individuals remain nonverbal, 50% have to live in institutionalized setting, and majority are unable to find meaningful work. The rates keep rising worldwide. If this trajectory continues, all of us have a high probability of having an affected family member. The current standard of care is behavioral therapy. It relies on the physical presence of a hard-to-find trained therapist and requires over 20 hours per week of one-on-one instruction. The therapists are undertrained, underpaid, and burned out. Most importantly, many children simply do not respond. And aside from this, there is nothing else. There are no approved drugs that target the core autism symptoms. There are some wellness products on the market, but none are FDA approved and none of them are designed for children or for autism. The pathology of autism is not fully understood, but over 80% of autistic individuals have some form of mitochondrial dysfunction. And that leads to a cascade of negative effects, including neural inflammation and dysfunctional neural connectivity. So what is transcranial photobiomodulation? It is stimulating the brain by shining pulsed near-infrared light through the skull. This technology has been around since 1980s. It is already approved by the FDA for reduction of inflammation in tissues, but only recently has it begun to be studied for neurological disorder treatments. And why is it so beneficial for autism? Because this technology can help the mitochondria to function better by increasing ATP production. The key is to reach the right areas of the brain with the proper dosing. So we believe that children on the spectrum can lead fulfilling and productive lives. Jellica Light developed Cognilum, an intelligent medical device designed to increase autistic children communication skills and reduce social anxiety. It is a combination of a neuromodulation wearable device with sensors and a personalization platform. What gets the parents really excited is that this treatment is non-invasive and has no known negative side effects. Our technology is patent protected, comfortable for children to wear, Bluetooth controlled, and personalized. But is it actually effective? To date, we've run 3 IRB approved clinical trials using our proprietary prototype. In each of these studies, we saw statistically and clinically significant behavioral and physiological improvement in children who received the treatment. Childhood Autism Rating Scale is a clinically validated measurement of autism severity. A decline of 6 points reclassifies a child from severe to moderate. Some of our participants ended up getting mainstreamed in school. Based on these results, we received FDA Breakthrough Device Designation and National Science Foundation funding. What does it actually mean in practice? Children start to speak, become interested in other children, and gain functional skills. So what has Jellica Light done to date? We've raised over $5 million, received FDA Breakthrough Device Designation, and had multiple meetings with FDA, have issued patents, have publications, and have international commercialization partners. We are currently working with Mount Sinai and SUNY Upstate Medical on the large pivotal clinical trial. Our early commercialization strategy is to offer Cognilum device through clinicians. Going forward, the treatment will be offered as a home-based model, always under clinician supervisions. And we already have LOIs in place for distributions, both to clinicians and to individual parents. The typical multiple for a medical device company is 4 times the annual revenue. There are several large medical device companies out there that are currently interested in brain stimulation technology. We have a multidisciplinary team with expertise in clinical trials, engineering, commercialization, artificial intelligence, and reimbursement. I am a CEO with progressively senior experience in investment banking and legal industries. Dr. Steingold has over 20 years of experience in clinical therapy and research, and Louis is our CTO with over 30 years of experience in designing and commercializing medical devices. We also have a large advisory group with expertise in mitochondrial dysfunction, commercialization of medical devices, and artificial intelligence. And this is just the beginning. This combination of data-device feedback is unique and can be a complete game changer for families. Autism is our beachhead, but the possibilities are endless. This technology can be applied for treatment of ADHD, epilepsy, sleep disorders, premature babies, and even schizophrenia. We're already working on some pilot studies in this effect. We're currently raising $7 million to finish the pivotal clinical trial for FDA submission and early commercialization efforts. Our existing investors are New York Ventures, Brain Foundation, New York State, and multiple angel investors. So why Jellica Light? Pediatric developmental disorders are a large and unfortunately growing market with few practical solutions available. Cognilum treatment is effective, as shown by 3 previous clinical trials, easy to administer, has no side effects. And our team has proven its effectiveness. We're looking for partners, so please join us on this journey to help millions of children around the world.
Thank you very much. Again, please reach out to Jellica Light if you are interested. Next, Lucidify.
Hello, my name is Divya Chander, and I'm the founder and CEO of Lucidify. I'm excited to introduce you to a transformative neurotechnology company that is creating the pulse oximeter for the brain. As we went through the customer discovery process with more than 100 stakeholders, we chose to focus our first cognitive health detection system on delirium, the most common, costly, deadly syndrome you may not have heard of. Delirium is acute brain failure, resulting in fluctuating consciousness and a breakdown in attention and thinking. Your brain no longer functions well as the commander-in-chief of your body. Delirium is staggeringly prevalent and it causes untold suffering. It affects up to 75% of ICU patients over 65, and it costs the US healthcare system over $250 billion annually. Delirium is also a significant driver of dementia, prolonged hospital stays, and higher mortality. The costs rival diabetes and are estimated to exceed cancer and heart disease. Without diagnosis, you cannot treat the underlying cause and discharge the patient early. The current solution is a bedside clinical evaluation that is time-consuming, intermittent, and subjective. On the other end of the spectrum, high-density brainwave recordings, or EEG, provide objective diagnosis, but it's really time-consuming to place, very expensive, and requires expert ND interpretation. Our patent-pending classification platform uses signal processing and machine learning to analyze brainwave data from lightweight wireless sensors on low-power chips at the edge. This decreases latency for detection and increases patient protection and cybersecurity. The system provides real-time alerts that are integrated into existing hospital workflow, enabling timely intervention. Now, the ability to objectively detect delirium is possible using EEG biomarkers, and it has been demonstrated in multiple studies. Our IP moat involves being able to do this with just a few sensors at the edge and being able to integrate the most cost-effective and efficient of these algorithms into our hardware and our platform. Lucidify's value proposition is that unlike traditional methods that miss delirium as it waxes and wanes, we can detect delirium immediately as it happens, triggering prompt treatment of the cause and early discharge from the hospital. Estimates are that this would reduce ICU stays by up to 6 days, saving on average $36,000 per stay. With value bundled care, all that hospital savings per DRG is literally income for the hospital. Just as the pulse oximeter can detect good saturation versus bad saturation and send the clinician down a pathway to discover the underlying cause, the Lucid Pro can detect good brain versus bad brain to initiate a triage pathway for the diagnosis and treatment of brain failure. Our revenue model involves 3 components: recurring revenue for a consumable sensor, a volume-based platform subscription, and a fixed cost for the number of units of edge-based computing hardware. Medicare estimates that the direct U.S. hospital cost of post-surgical delirium is more than $32 billion a year. If we capture even 5% of this first, more direct, serviceable, addressable market, we have an opening of over $1 billion. We have traction driving our go-to-market strategy, key opinion leaders and clinical trial partners that are interested in becoming our first customers. We have LOIs with mental health clinics, interest from senior living and long-term care insurance, and our FDA regulatory baseline is mapped. We also have real partner sales with the largest global consumer neurowearable device called the Muse. Our broader mission will solidify the EEG as a vital sign and bring us into a number of other vertical markets, including mental health, smart homes, pharma, age tech, and longevity. Lucidify's competitive edge is this continuous 24/7 AI-supported brain monitoring that's affordable and comfortable for patients, essentially frictionless, setting us apart in the market. This makes it possible for us to build the Apple Watch for the brain and scale. Nevertheless, larger companies like Masimo and Medtronic would find us attractive partners for license deals and possible acquisition, as would other monitoring companies like Dexcom and Aura trying to expand their wearable offerings, or large tech giants trying to break into the healthcare space like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Intel. The time has never been better to launch Lucidify. Cognitive longevity, preventing Alzheimer's disease, and preserving autonomy are global healthcare priorities. Remote patient monitoring, reimbursement, and deregulation has been enabled by COVID. Advances in AI, chips at the edge, and bioelectronics make Lucidify's real-time brain monitoring not just possible, but on the cutting edge of the knee of the exponential technology curve. Why us? We jointly have more than 100 years of collective experience in this space. I'm an anesthesiologist, critical care physician and neuroscientist who has developed algorithms to map consciousness in the operating room. Joining me are experts with combined decades of experience in cyber health security, software hardware integration, medical device, and medical data innovation who have developed and scaled products across healthcare and consumer markets. Together, we bring the clinical, technical, and operational expertise necessary to bring Lucidify to market and scale. Till now, we have been founder funded. We are raising seed financing of $2 to $3 million. This would carry us through the all-important milestone of validating our MVP algorithm, hardware, and our FDA 510(k) pre-submission. We have soft committed investments at this time. We look forward from hearing from any investors about any aspects of Lucidify in this raise. Thanks.
Thank you, Divya. Again, please reach out if you are interested. Investors, I could see a lot of investors on the platform right now and on Zoom connected. Please reach out to the startups. Okay. Next is Sal, I guess. All right.
Hello, folks. Hi. My name is Andrew Lee. I'm CEO of Lightgrow, and we're turning waste bananas into liquid gold. So, hang on. So, everyone loves bananas. There's 120 million tons of bananas grown globally each year. Problem is, 30 million tons end up in landfill. Now, this rots to produce around 400 million tons of carbon dioxide. And there's a social problem as well, because farmers aren't paid for their waste. So what we do is we take this waste and we turn it into microbial growth enhancers. This is very profitable. We can take a ton of banana waste and produce $40,000 of product. The activity is only in bananas, and what's good for us is we've got granted patents. And there's no other comparable technology in the marketplace. So our product Backlight acts like steroids for microbes. So it essentially allows you to grow more microbes quicker, and if you can have more microbes, you increase productivity, and this increases yield and reduces process times. So huge industries rely on microbes, and we can supercharge them. So we can enable users to essentially get more out of the same resource. So this increases both profitability and sustainability. And what this can do for industry is essentially increase the output of a production plant without CapEx. Now, this takes time and lots of money to expand fermentation plants. You can do it instantly just by using our product. So this is an immediate solution to the global shortfall in fermentation capacity. We're targeting 4 industries to start with: R&D and diagnostics. We've made first sales through our licensee Merck. And then we're targeting brewing and distilling, enzyme and vaccine production, where we've got customers waiting, and yeast production, where we're actually talking to 3 of the world's largest yeast producers. So for distilling, we can increase the distiller's output by up to 140%. We do this by essentially halving the fermentation time, but also increasing the output of alcohol in that half time by 10 to 20%. And this has sustainability benefits as well, because the increased efficiency can save 1/6 of feedstock use and 1/6 of water use. So the market for our products is huge. So if we just hit 10% of the market across those 4 target industries, well, then we're looking at a figure of $250 million a year. So we plan to expand rapidly and globally, and the way that we're going to do this is to form subsidiaries and production partnerships. Singapore is a very important place for us, so we want to form a subsidiary here to concentrate on the market across APAC. So we're also looking at production partnerships in pretty much every area of the world that's growing bananas. So if we achieve our goals, we have huge impact. So we'll be generating hundreds of millions of dollars each year in revenues. We'll be essentially diverting tens of thousands of tons of banana waste from landfill. This will reduce emissions not only directly, but our users' efficiency increases, reduces carbon emissions as well. We're going to pay farmers for their waste because it's so profitable. Why not share the love? Excuse me. And we'll be creating jobs in the banana growing communities that host our plants. So our team at the moment all share the same hairstyle. We're obviously a bit middle-aged, but we have experience as a result of that. And we were all experienced in essentially growing startups and going through funding rounds to exit. So we're taking on, for diversity and adding to the hair count of our company, we're taking on a US head of operations, Rachel, who's a very experienced biotech entrepreneur. So we're looking for investment at the moment. We're doing a seed round of £1.5 million, but we're not just here for that as well. We want to find potential partners who can help us expand into the APAC region. So please connect with me and help us turn waste bananas into liquid gold. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Makani Science.
Hi, I'm Dr. Greg Buchert, the CEO of Makani Science. We're on a path to develop the world's first continuous respiration monitor. The problem we're dealing with is the poor state of respiratory monitoring today, because if individuals aren't breathing or they're not getting oxygen, they die. And so respiratory monitoring is important to detect not only pulmonary diseases, but other diseases as well, such as sepsis. And as the Joint Commission pointed out, respiratory rate remains the most inaccurately measured and recorded vital sign. Many companies have tried to address this because of the importance of measuring respiration, but they've always come up with partial solutions that can only be used in very limited environments. And hence, we developed the Makani Science Monitor. And so it's using this sensor that's stretchable electronic sensor. We're embedding it into a larger monitor that can be easily applied, comfortable to wear, and generates a continuous real-time waveform of information that gets captured in the cloud, can later be analyzed, and could potentially predict, prevent, and intervene in the event of deterioration. The other unique thing about this is because of the small size of the monitor and the sensor, it could be used in neonates. The sensor the sensor captures rate, volume, and waveform, and because of its technology, it can be used on ambulatory individuals, unlike almost anything else in the market. And so it creates the possibility of monitoring people all day long. And we'll be developing our go-to-market monitor with not only our own sensors, but a few other FDA-approved commercial sensors. So we'll be able to provide that comprehensive view of respiration that's never been available. We'll be starting the pediatric market because of the fast-track capabilities that the FDA has created for pediatric devices. And it's always easier to make a smaller device larger for adults than going the other direction. And with talking to neonatologists and pediatricians, there's a crying need for a really good, accurate, continuous respiration monitor for these kids. Later on, we'll move into the very large adult markets, opening up great markets for us to generate significant revenue. Our business models that we'll be selling are our monitors, selling our app, and eventually potentially selling our data in a patient-protected manner. We'll be using distributors and Salesforce to reach out to hospitals and doctors. And fortunately, there's already reimbursement codes available for our devices. When one compares us with our competitors, three things I'd like to point out is our ambulatory abilities, the small size of our monitor, and the fact that we have this data captured in the cloud that can be analyzed for information that was previously not accessible. The global respiratory monitoring market is huge, it exceeds $100 billion, and we're confident that we'll be able to reach a $49 million SOM by 2029. There are many strategics in this area, and Makani Science sits right in the middle, so it creates opportunities for us to either be a product in their portfolio, or we can enable their current technologies. The exits in this area have been very attractive in the $200 to $600 million range, so we anticipate we'll have a very attractive return for our investors. We have a team that can pull this off. Personally, I've started multiple companies. My CTO is the founder and creator of this technology, and we've been very careful to only use contractors to help us build this company that individually each have more than 20 years of experience in the medical device field. Our board of directors is outstanding and has all the characteristics to make a successful company, including working with very large medical device companies, small companies that have been startups that have had exits, and then our advisory board is comprised of providers that are working in the areas where we'll be launching our devices. To date, we've raised about $2.2 million, with 30% coming from founders and executives, and we're currently raising a $1 million round. Next year, we'll probably be raising a Series A in the area of around $10 million. Our $1 million bridge that we're raising now with a $6 million valuation cap has terms that are attractive for the investors, with the convertible note, 8% interest and a 20% discount, and we'll be offering warrants for sizable investments. So I urge you to join us in Makani Science and helping everybody in the world breathe much easier. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Greg. And that was the summary slide. Again, please reach out to Greg with any questions related to Makani Science. Also, please visit Makani Science Roundtable tomorrow, as well as the rest of the week. Also, please visit Makani Science exhibit booth that is also available on the platform for additional documentations and videos about the product. Thank you, Greg. Next is NanoSticks.
Hi, everyone. My name is Catalina Vasquez, and I am co-founder and chief operating officer at NanoSticks. We are a diagnostics platform company with the mission to bring clarity to healthcare decisions through improved diagnostics. And we do it because we understand that early detection of disease saves lives. But if overdone, it causes overdiagnosis and treatment, reduces the quality of life for our patients, and increases the healthcare costs. But if we go to the other side and stop doing screening, then that causes increased mortality and diagnosis of late-stage diseases when they're no longer curable. We understand that at NanoSticks, and therefore we combine biomarkers and machine learning to identify the risk of diseases, to predict the need for additional testing, and prioritize treatment. And we do it using our proprietary platform technologies that generate fingerprints. So in brief, what we do is we integrate biomarkers, be it through our own proprietary extracellular vesicle platform detection, or by using non-proprietary available commercially biomarkers like PSA, for example. Combine them with clinical data, demographic data, and patient information using our proprietary machine learning algorithms to predict the probability of diseases. And using these platforms, we have developed this platform with high-value opportunities, be it in the machine learning area, developing software as medical devices. An example of that would be our Clarity DX prostate diagnostic test already in the market, but we also have additional tests in the pipeline, or using our own extracellular vesicle platform and with tests in oncology, immuno-oncology, and cardiovascular disease. But today, I'm introducing you Clarity DX prostate, software as a medical device that addresses the need 4 better screening tests for prostate cancer. So the screening process for men, it starts with a blood test called PSA for prostate-specific antigen, which is really good at detecting men with prostate cancer, but is really bad at detecting men who do not have prostate cancer. To give you an example, in the US, we have close to 2 million elevated PSAs, but only about 15% of them are from patients who have prostate cancer, meaning we have up to 85% false positive. So we definitely need to develop better and non-invasive tests to refine the prediction of prostate cancer, better yet, to identify those patients who will need a biopsy and sparing those who don't need it. And as is this such an unmet medical need in the world, the global market is huge. It's over $5 billion. So this test has been fully validated, and we're showing that our test is up to 4 times more accurate than PSA alone, as it is showing this graph. This is the PSA, and these are all 4 models. These models have been validated using data from UCLA, Johns Hopkins, the University of Alberta in Calgary in Canada, and Thomson University in Europe, and has been published in high-renowned journals. One of the beauties of our test is that it actually integrates very well into the care path. So typically, a patient will come with elevated PSA, and the recommendation is to go to the lab and repeat the PSA. But instead of that, we propose to use our Clarity Dx Prostate. That will predict if the patient has high or low risk of having prostate cancer, going down from $2.2 billion to a little bit over $1 billion in savings to the healthcare system, as we estimate a 47% reduction of unnecessary biopsies by using our test. The value proposition of the test is that it is highly competitive, scalable, and cost-effective. So if we compare with other players in the market in North America, we are equally accurate as the most accurate test that is 4K score. But then, in contrast, we come at a fraction of the cost, are highly scalable, and have very, very quick turnaround times. So if we add higher accuracy than PSA, how easy it is to implement, and highly scalable, it comes with substantial licensing opportunities, not only in North America, but also globally. And that is what we're going for. So we launched the test a year ago, and since then we have made a lot of progress, making it available across Canada through partnerships within our own lab, but also Life Labs, DynaCare, and CDL Labs. We partnered with Protean Biodiagnostics to bring it to the United States, and recently launched it there, and are launching in the Middle East and Latin America through other partners. That is done. Completed. Then next year, we're focusing on reimbursement, both in Canada and the United States. We started a clinical utility study to support these conversations and apply for the PLA code, started the conversations with the payers in North America, and are looking to get FDA and Health Canada approvals, which will support licensed sales in labs across the United States and the world. And then later on, then we want global expansion. We have been very efficient at achieving our milestones with $6 million in equity funding and $4.5 million in non-dilutive funding, and are looking for $10 million to support sales, reimbursement, and global expansion of the test. We wouldn't have been able to do this without our executive team with 100 years of combined experience in entrepreneurship, sales and marketing, biotechnology, and machine learning, and our international renowned board of directors. So in summary, we're raising $10 million. The valuation is to be determined by the lead investor, which we're actively seeking. And we're looking to expand on sales and marketing, reimbursement, and regulatory approvals. Thank you for your attention, and I'm happy to get contacted for more information. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have NeuroM Therapeutics.
So people wonder, what the hell is a tech entrepreneur, AI serial entrepreneur doing, building a meta company? Well, I'm going to tell you a story. This is my friend Marty, patient X. Marty was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at 83, and just one of 500,000 new Alzheimer's patients every year. She was diagnosed, and for 3 years she declined, and there's nothing they can do, because there's some drugs out there that slow the progression, and they have horrible side effects, like brain hemorrhage and death, there's some legitimate therapeutic approaches that help the brain improve, and there's a lot of snake oil, people that sell you crystals to cure Alzheimer's. Well, her daughter didn't buy that. Her daughter said, I'm going to do something, so she put her in a program. 3 years after the diagnosis, it would have been her progression, the red line. If she took the drugs and ignored the side effects, that would have been the response. But this is what happened. Not only did we stop the progression of the disease, we reversed it. And my friend Marty, patient X, had a 90th birthday last month and scored normal in a cognitive test for people in her age group. Now, if I only had Marty, I should stop. If I only had patient X, I have permission to use a name, by the way. If I only had patient X, I wouldn't be here. We did a trial with 8 people. 7 of them had exactly the same result. A trial controlled by an independent party, validated by the FDA and the National Institute of Health. Now, it's not magic, and it's definitely not crystals. An accidental discovery that uses radio frequencies to produce a transcranial electromagnetic treatment that physically changes factors in the brain. 10 years. This is not something that became something overnight. 10 years, multiple patents, $7 million. Last week, we got selected to be part of the Alzheimer's Moonshot program. Press release coming out on Friday. It's a long trip, and it's not, we believe in doing good, but also doing well. It's a huge market. People ask me, well, how big is your market? Well, brain health alone is a $500 billion market. And we're not building a company that's not going to be profitable. We have a clear path to profitability. My forecast, 35,000 devices in 3 years. Consider that 1.5 million new Alzheimer's patients in that same period. I generate more than $100 million in gross margin. That's a lot of money for me to keep doing research and keep improving our technology. You know, we have a vision, and I always tell people there's a fine line between a vision and a hallucination, right? The way I fix that problem is my team. We're all geeks, engineers, doctors, scientists, brain people. We're all focused on one thing: get this thing to market. We're raising 2 rounds, and I can explain why we're doing 2 rounds and all that stuff. If you're interested, we'll look for an investor to add to our lead investor. That's Stage One Ventures out of Boston. You want to talk about that? Happy to talk to you after this. And I got to tell you, that line right there gives me goosebumps every time I see that. That's her daughter, who sends me pictures every month of Marty. And personally, what the hell is the point of being 90 if my brain is not functioning? Come help us. Bring hope to a lot of people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just realized that we did skip a company earlier today because we said we're running everything in alphabetical order. We will run Brinta right now with Tom. Okay.
So I'm Tom. I'm the CEO and co-founder here at Brinta, and I'm here to present to you the future of human tissue engineering, 3D bioprinted tissue. A little bit about the past and history of the company, where we came from. So we are originally from Finland, as you can hear my funny accent is coming from. In 2018, my co-founder approached me with an idea of building a 3D bioprinter. This guy is a genius, so I invested in him, and 2 years later, he delivered the most advanced multi-material 3D bioprinter in the world. We went to release it in Germany at the Medica conference. Soon after, we realized that we ended up building something that has never been before seen. So I took over the company as a CEO and brought it to the United States, where I was already after my previous exit. So why we matter in healthcare? Tissue heals slowly still today, an average 9 months to heal for tendons. their inefficient repairs, costing US taxpayers over $10 billion per year. And there's an unmet need, especially in sports medicine, where over 45% of rotator cuff repairs fail. So today, I'm excited to tell you that we are now 3D bioprinting world's first tissue implants to be commercial next year. We start with the $4 billion soft tissue market globally, focusing on the tendon repairs, which is $1.8 billion in the US, and rotator cuff in a shoulder being our first product, moving horizontally to Achilles tendon and eventually to ACL. We target $130 million obtainable market 3 years post-commercialization with a high 83% margin. We have a competition, only a few in this new bioengineering soft tissue space. CONMED from BioBrace, Regeneten from Smith & Nephew, and Tapestry from Zimmer Biomet. For these three competitors, we aim to be better in the tensile strength, resorption time, and tear resistance, in addition with the suture retention. These are highly unmet needs in orthopedics. Thanks to the additive manufacturing, we can now bring in the replicability and lower the costs of these implants. So our game-changing implants are enabled thanks to our 3D bioprinters, offer custom synthetic layers. These layers offer high load sharing, faster recovery, which higher suture retention is a really high unmet need. In addition, with the custom biological layers, which I actually have products here that we just printed before my trip from the US, that mimic the native tissue and offers the tissue regeneration. We offer a fast surgical delivery with arthroscopic devices in less than 2 minutes. So how our implants work? First, injury in rotator cuff. We suture our implant over the injured tendon, and immediately the implant absorption and tissue regeneration starts. And after 6 months, there's nothing left of our implant. It becomes your own tissue. Pretty amazing, right? This is the technology that we enable to make our implants. 3D bioprinting chamber that prints and sterilizes implant, offers a composites tools, biologics tools, glue tool to putting these tissues together, and then sterilization. With the lift, it takes it down to a packaging chamber. This packaging chamber then puts the products immediately to sterilized envelopes and ready to be shipped for the ASC and hospitals. ASCs are the ambulatory surgical centers of our primary customers in the US. We offer 12 months shelf life with our products and taking down the prices of implants over 45% over our competitors. We have our first biomanufacturing location in North Carolina that we're piloting now how to make these products all across the country and taking down the lead time from weeks down to days now, first time. We have de-risked our R&D for the first implant. We work in a 510K Class 2 specification space, regulatory space, picked by the top experts, our predicates. We have a low $2.25 million budget, which means that we don't need any human trials for our first product. And we aim to be commercial 25 with additional budget for 26. A little bit about the timeline. We started our implant development in 23 with materials and printability studies, bench test feasibility studies this year, Q-Sub meeting with FDA before the end of the year in a few weeks, then V&V animal trials next year, and sales and marketing towards the end of the 25 with additional budget. What really makes our implant in the data space better than the competitors is that optimal green area there, the optimal load sharing, load bearing. And thanks to our formulation of our implant with the 3D bioprinting, we're able to bring in the features that are really looked after in our orthopedic surgery space. Our implant and technologies are divided into 3 different IP sections, first being the 3D bioprinters, now implants, and then combined with the biomanufacturing, which kind of creates a patent fortress around it, so we're secured for the future of all these tissue manufacturing. We're not only going to be staying in our orthopedic space, as we are going to move to soft tissue in plastic surgery, for example, in breast reconstruction, muscle hernia space, cartilage, for example, meniscus, nasal reconstruction, and even though science fiction today, organs will be manufactured within my lifetime, and who knows, we might be that company. The customer need, we've been confirming this all along the way, working with the top surgeons of the world. These, Dr. Scott Siegman and Sharif, these are the celebrities of the space. Sales milestones, that's my space. I'm a BD guy, so we launched it to ASCs, 500, first 2 years, direct in-house sales rep, aiming $5 million revenue, and there's a high opportunity for exits in the first 2 years when we start getting the revenue. 3 to 5 years, we're expanding to hospital systems with the help of independent distributors and GPOs, group purchasing organizations, and that's where the hockey still starts growing. We have a highly experienced team. As I mentioned, I have over 16 years of experience of building companies, both in Europe and in the US. I have my co-founder with vast experience in science operations and medical devices, our science operations officer from BlackRock, our genius behind our 3D bioprinters, Tommy Calpio, and Dr. Scott Bruder, regulatory strategy, former chief medical and science officer at Stryker, and Michael Francis, actually an inventor of our competitor that was acquired. So this is the business that we're doing here, is a platform. We're aiming to make implants all throughout the future, all the way to organs. So initial application, this is a $3 million revenue, could be valued to $300 million. For example, Empathy, that was acquired for $275 million with less than $3 million in sales. So what we're going to do, we'll first launch the rotator cuff in 26, 28 Achilles tendon implant, and then again ACL, and all the way to other dimensions. Full company transaction by the end of this decade could easily be over $1 billion, as you can see. For example, Wright was acquired for $5.5 billion with a portfolio of orthopedic implants. We're already talking with a lot of these strategic potentials. They're asking already for exclusivity. We're not ready for that yet, as we want to be showing what we can do ourselves. And eventually, who knows, this could be that $1 trillion company. We actually, last note, we were selected to be shipping our 3D bioprinter to the ISS space station. So it kind of validates that our technology works as we are promising it. So thank you for listening to me, and I hope that I'll be delivering for all of you tendons in the future and tissues and who's what. Appreciate it for your time, and I hope you have a great slush. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tom. Please reach out to Tom if of interest to you. Again, Tom is with Printer. Okay, next we have PlasmaGen.
Hello everyone, my name is Valerie Léveillé and I'm the CEO and founder of the company Next PlasmaGen. We're dedicated to fight cancer using cold plasma, an ionized gas, extremely reactive, as you see on the picture. We're from Montreal, we're a medtech company, and our whole objective is to reduce the patient reoperation rate and cancer recurrence. We have one product named the Convertible Plasma Jet, and it has been developed with academia and healthcare partners since many years. We have raised $2.2 million US so far in preclinical trial and prototypes. We have treated breast cancer and sarcoma in vivo. We're starting safety clinical trial. We have 2 installations in 2 different hospitals in Canada, and we're raising $2 million US to design the commercial unit. The problem we're trying to solve is breast cancer. It's the leading cause of death of women worldwide with a high rate of recurrence and reoperation. There's 2.2 million of women that's going to be diagnosed with breast cancer every year, and of them, 20% will have a reoperation rate within 3 months after surgery, and 10% of cancer recurrence after 2 years. On top of that, for the healthcare system in the US, it's $3 billion every year that is spent to treat a recurring breast cancer. The main method right now to reduce reoperation and recurrence is called the intraoperative radiation. It's done on 60% of breast cancer when they have a lumpectomy. Radiation has serious adverse effect. It is costly. The unit costs $1.5 million per machine. It's a complex and long treatment. It's bulky. It's about a ton per device. There's many problems. So our solution is to use the convertible plasma jet to destroy the cancer cell in the surgical cavity after the solid tumor is removed to safely reduce patient reoperation rate and cancer recurrence. Our model is the razor blade model with a control unit, applicator, and disposable tips. The advantage of our technology that is safer than radiation, it's more efficient than our direct competitor, US Medical Innovation, and above all, we want to improve the quality of care, the quality of life of patients, and reduce the healthcare costs. Cold plasma has been used in medicine for decades. It has no radiation side effect. It can treat various size and shape of tumor cavity. It's going to take only 15 minutes into the operating room as required by the surgeon for a seamless integration in the clinical flow. We have competition. US Medical Innovation is our direct competitor, but we believe we're more efficient because we have data on mice in vivo. Intraoperative radiation, we talked about that. It's price, complex, side effects, and quite big. And also the surgeon can decide to just remove more tissue into the breast, but that comes with detrimental cosmetic outcomes. And also people can use heat to kill the cancer cell in the tumor bed, but that is uncomfortable, it's not precise, and has not been widely used. Our revenue model and market opportunity. We've done a very, very deep bottom-up analysis, and we find out that there's about 913 clinical centers in Canada and US that can use our technology, and about 8,000 in the world. Our business model is to sell 2 kits of $115,000 each per hospital, 10,000 of applicator replacement, disposable tip about 23,000 per year, and service and maintenance 21,000. So we have expected a recurrence revenue of 54,000 per clinic per year, and an initial kit sale of about 230,000 US. If you multiply that at the number of centers, you end up with a total addressable market of 259 million in US and Canada, and 2.3 billion worldwide, just for breast cancer. If we extrapolate to other tumors that we can treat, other cavity that we can treat after solid tumor remove, we believe the market could be up to 10 billion. Recent milestone in 2023, we did great, successful mice for sarcoma. We got our second US patent, second Canadian patent, our first Japan patent, and we just applied for a third patent pending. Just recently, this quarter, we got approved by Health Canada to conduct safety trial. We're starting them. In 2025, with the 2 million seeds, we're going to design and build a commercial unit. 2026, with another seed of 8 million, we're going to conduct the efficacy trial in US and Canada, so that in 2027, we can start our sales. Revenue projection, 2025, no revenue. 2026, potential revenue with the clinical trial unit sold. 2027, about 8 million is revenue, and this is where the first exit can come with Johnson & Johnson, Boston Scientific, or Covidien. Medtronics. 2029 will be ultimate sales of 65 million, and that will be only 2% of the cancer center worldwide. So we think it's quite reasonable. So our raising is 2 million with a pre-money valuation of 8 million. Our ask is to find a lead investor, and we have already sub-commitment of 450K from a current investor in the company if there's a lead that is joining the round. Our metrics, we capital raise, we raised 2.6 million so far in dilutive and non-dilutive. I invested myself $66,000. The monthly burn rate is $22,000 per month. We have a runway of 1 year. And we already have 2 seats on the board and a person that have more than 25 years of experience in medical device. The use of capital will be for designing and building the commercial unit, hire a business development manager and a CMO, get our certification 13485 for medical device design and development, and prepare our efficacy trial, as well as finalize the manufacturing and marketing plan. Thank you for your time, and I hope that you're going to join next Plasmagen. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. All right, please again reach out to each of the startups and founders. Next, we have Orbit Genomics.
Hi, I'm Dee Dee Willis, the CEO and co-founder of Orbit Genomics, a company that's transforming complex disease diagnosis, treatment, and prevention. Our first product addresses lung cancer, the world's deadliest cancer. It's diagnosed with low-dose computed tomography, but every year over 2 million Americans have a low-dose CT scan with an indeterminate pulmonary nodule that might be cancer, but can't be diagnosed through imaging alone. These patients are given the option to either undergo an expensive and invasive lung biopsy, which often has complications, or wait and see if the nodule changes over time, typically for a year, knowing they might have cancer. OrbiSeq-L addresses this huge unmet need for a non-invasive alternative to biopsies for indeterminate nodules. We worked with the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai to optimize OrbiSeq-L, and it demonstrated an unparalleled 96% positive predictive value and 98% negative predictive value in patients with IPNs. These results far exceed the reimbursement targets of 50% PPV and 90% NPV. Our principal investigators, Doctors Claudia Henschke and David Yankelevitz, are world-renowned lung cancer experts who were instrumental in getting the current guidelines in place. They have looked at or are looking at every competitive product in the market or in clinical trials. And when we shared our data with them, their response was a resounding, wow, nothing else comes close. Our competitors are all liquid biopsies, which look for minute amounts of tumor material or evidence shed into your blood. As a result, they have inherently high false negative rates, meaning they miss a lot of cancer, and therefore none of them are widely used or broadly reimbursed. OrbiSeq meets the reimbursement requirements, and based on our performance, insurers and clinicians estimate that our simple blood test will help them avoid 500,000 unnecessary biopsies annually, saving $6 billion. Our patent-pending OrbiSeq platform is the result of based on research from our CSO and scientific co-founder, Skip Garner. It includes 7 NIH grants totaling $15.6 million and 47 peer-reviewed publications. OrbiSeq analyzes a key missing piece of the genomics puzzle, bringing us one step closer to truly personalized medicine. OrbiSeq analyzes novel markers that uniquely reflect not just your inherited disease risk, but also the risk you've acquired from living, enabling us to provide clinically actionable results. OrbiSeq also evaluates markers for potential ethnicity and gender bias to ensure that our products are effective for all of us, regardless of our ancestry. We can apply it to diagnose, treat, and ultimately help prevent any complex disease, including cancer, heart disease, and neurological diseases. Since raising our first external funding round of $3.3 million in 2022, we've made significant progress. Our products will be launched as lab-developed tests, and our CLIA laboratory here in Boulder, Colorado, is fully operational. We've also completed our commercial OrbiSeq platform, which has significant improvements over the prototype design. We've established key collaborations with leading cancer and healthcare institutions across the country who will work with us to commercialize OrbiSeq L and future products, and also ensure that we get both reimbursement and clinician adoption. We just optimized OrbiSeq L, which is the data I shared with you, and we were awarded a 2-year, $2 million direct to phase 2 grant from the National Cancer Institute to develop our second version of OrbiSeq, which includes subtype information. So it greatly expands the use to all lung cancer patients, enabling most of them to go directly from a blood test into treatment without having to get a biopsy. We're raising $2 million in a bridge round to get us to our next inflection point and initial commercialization. The key milestones we'll achieve in the next 16 to 18 months include validating OrbiSeq L, which is the last step prior to initiating our clinical trials with the 5 sites I mentioned. While we're in clinical trials, we'll complete development of our second product, a single test for risk of multiple cancers, a pan-cancer panel, which is aimed at avoiding disease, helping prevent people from getting the cancer. We'll also work on our subtyping version of OrbiSeq L through the SBIR grant and get to an initial product launch with reimbursement from one payer in 16 to 18 months. We will need to raise another equity round after that in order to do a complete national launch and get national coverage. I would love to tell you more about our game-changing OrbiSeq platform and this exciting investment opportunity. Please give me a shout. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have OI Therapeutics.
Hello, my name is Brett Dines. I'm the CEO and founder at OI Therapeutics. We are about to revolutionize the treatment of opioid overdose. Caffeine is a classic poorly soluble API, approved worldwide for the treatment of apnea of prematurity. We reformulated injectable caffeine, allowing OIE to deliver 1,000 milligrams of intravenous IV solution, literally 4 milliliters, which is convenient when a patient is not breathing and in acute respiratory distress. We can now deliver a safe, suitable, efficacious dose of caffeine to treat a series of unmet medical needs. Our novel formulation will maintain market exclusivity through 2041, and the intellectual property is licensable worldwide. We plan to exit upon completion of the proposed phase 2 pivotal study contained herein. If you're not aware, fentanyl overdose is the leading cause of death for persons 18 to 45 in the United States. Caffeine represents the only prospective near-term treatment option other than naloxone. Naloxone has known limitations such as a short half-life, rising rates of treatment-related toxicity, and is not effective in sedative toxidrome. The numbers don't lie. We need more tools to address this problem. Our proprietary injectable high-concentration caffeine will be used as a rapid reversal agent for treating opioid-induced respiratory depression. Caffeine offers a novel mechanism of action, and it specifically extends the duration of action in treating these patients for upwards of 6 hours. Caffeine's mechanism of action is a CNS and respiratory stimulant. It works centrally in the respiratory center of the brain and then works in the periphery on the chemoreceptors, lungs, and on the diaphragm. An added benefit is it rapidly restores cognitive and psychomotor function, and then this allows clinicians to perform rapid neurological assessment of these patients. The clinical use case for caffeine is substantial. Service obtainable market correlates directly with projected revenues for naloxone of $2.5 billion. Worldwide, we see the drug being used in every emergency room, on every ambulance, and by every first responder. Looking at the product's life cycle and label expansion opportunities, the total addressable market actually exceeds $40 billion for high concentration caffeine. Proof of concept's been demonstrated in a variety of preclinical species: mice, rats, baboons, monkeys. Proof of concept has also been demonstrated in humans. Caffeine's been used in a variety of animal and humans to treat opioid-induced respiratory depression. Caffeine's use dates back almost 3,000 plus years. It was specifically started being used in China back around 1500 AD in opium dens to treat opium overdoses. And then most recently, Prasad conducted a placebo-controlled randomized study demonstrating the ability to reverse anesthesia and restore a patient's ability to self-sustain respiration following fentanyl exposure. So based upon an FDA advisory committee meeting at the end of February 2024, we anticipate the program to be accepted into FDA's accelerated approval program. FDA provided Hawaii with a novel phase 2 pivotal clinical trial protocol. Because the study design crosses the same patients over, we use them as their own controls, and then that allows us to enroll fewer than 50 patients in this pivotal study. We have a convertible note for $5 million, 3-year term, $25 million value cap, and 10% interest. The $5 million completes a phase 1 safety study and the phase 2 pivotal study. The note is actually anchored by a strategic partner and investor for $1 million. We've got another $2.9 million committed, and the board has authorized the note to be oversubscribed up to $10 million because of a most recent partnership that we're about to announce between us and the U.S. Department of Defense. With successful pivotal data, we will have a complete phase 2 asset with an estimated value of $734 million. We've partnered with the U.S. Department of Defense. We will be closing on our non-dilutive funding with the U.S. Department of Defense this month. Money is specifically earmarked for the setup and completion of a phase 3 pivotal study for the reversal of general anesthesia. And then the Department of Defense is seeking to reverse the negative side effects of anesthetics and opioids in veterans and soldiers, hospitals, and transport and battlefield, and on the battlefield, I'm sorry. Most recently, we're notified that we were a semifinalist in Pepperdine's Most Fundable Companies competition. The team is world-class, 2 blockbusters, 50-plus INDs among the group. We've got specific expertise in the therapeutic areas of addiction, medicine, neurosciences, anesthesia, postoperative care, and hospital products. We received a term sheet commitment for the Series A should we choose to go to market and not exit following the phase 2 pivotal data. It's a $50 million secured debt instrument from a strategic commercialization partner, Eversana. It completes all pre- and post-launch services for the products going into the market. Information required for the global symposium. I really want to call your attention to the time to additional investment. The $5 million Convertible note generates and completes the phase 2 clinical asset and the 2 industry milestones, but is exhausted in 14 months. Because of the substantial commitment from the U.S. Department of Defense and that being non-dilutive, OYE will not require additional investment to operate over the next 3 years, nor achieve our goal of exiting following the completion of the phase 2 clinical trial. So in summary, we've got a fabulous team working on a substantial problem, significant amount of preclinical data and human clinical data supporting the high likelihood of success. The project as a whole has a high likelihood of success and exit at our proposed completion time of and after the phase 2 pivotal study is completed.
Thank you very much, Brett. Next, we go with PigPug.
My name is Vitaly. I am a CEO and founder of PigPug Health. We work on AI-powered neurofeedback treatment for kids with attention deficit and for autistic kids. Problem: attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and autism spectrum disorder in kids. 1 in 10 are diagnosed with attention deficit and 1 in 36 are diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. And the number of these kids is growing. And why we have chosen these two? Because they have common symptoms. More than 50% of autistic kids have some attention deficit signs. And more than 25% of attention deficit kids have some autistic signs. And this problem is related to almost all team members of PigPug Health. And this is my personal. I have been diagnosed with autism since 6. And 5 years ago, I decided the mission of my life will be to help kids with attention deficit and with autism spectrum disorder to live a better life, to be more socialized, more productive, more attentive. There are 3 treatment strategies for now. It's a medication, it's a behavioral and psychological interventions, and solutions based on neurofeedback. But all these solutions, they have 3 disadvantages. It's a clunky hardware, it's hard to reach, and it's very, very high cost. And we fix all of this problem. We provide neurofeedback all-in-one ongoing therapy at home under professional supervision. It's not just one more device. PigPug is a family. What does it mean? It means mom with kid will put this device at home at comfortable chair, choose a neurofeedback practitioner, and we will work from home, we'll train kids' brain. We provide online telemedicine platform where we connect neurofeedback practitioners and parents. It's AI personalized content. It's a special designed EEG headset and AI diagnosing. This is a level of our product development. We have done more than 10 rounds of headset prototyping. We have patent pending. We have started pre-ordering campaign with successful pre-orders, and we are ready for pilot manufacturing. This is a tutor's view, and there is a child's view. As usual, kids are playing very, very engaging and interesting games. Proof of concept. More than 40 kids participated in our basic course, more than 400 neurofeedback sessions. And we could see the 5 times in average increase of sustained attention after only 10 sessions. And as I said, PigPug offered personalized, drug-free neurofeedback solution at home. We have a unique hybrid software and hardware, and it's a special design for these kids, hardware headset, and AI personalized content for them. We're doing coherence and synchrony training, remote neurofeedback sessions, and our goal is to make neurofeedback as affordable as possible for any US family. This is a business model, how we'll make money. It's a B2B2C. We will go to the market through neurofeedback practitioners. We have talked with more than 150 neurofeedback practitioners, and majority of them are ready to be onboarded on our platform. It's a 2 plans, basic and custom. We charge only for using our platform. The rest will go to the neurofeedback practitioner. And we aim to have a very, very affordable headset, $299. This type of treatment is reimbursable by insurance. There are 2 CPT codes on the bottom of the screen. We have won a lot of awards during these years, in different continents, in the United States, in Europe, and we have partnered with very, very successful companies. We are part of Ithaca Manufacturing Accelerator by Cornell University, and we partner with Stanford Neurofeedback Project. We are raising right now 1.5 on SAFE for manufacturing 100 devices for AI development, for hiring more developers, AI researchers, NERA, scientists. We have been using the award prize for buying parts for our devices. And this is our team. I'm a developer and serial entrepreneur with successful exit. In 2016, we have sold a company called Neato, AI company called Neato, to American Online. We have two great neurofeedback practitioners with more than 30 years in neurofeedback area in common. We have Anna, she's a neuroscientist and neurosurgeon with more than 10 years of experience. This is a team of developers, designers, medical doctors, and world-class advisors. In case you have a question, why PigPack Health? Because as I said, PigPack is a family. Mrs. Pig and Mr. Pug are superheroes who will help kids with attention deficit and autism to live a better life. Thank you. Hopefully see you soon.
Thank you very much. Next, we will go to Pratika.
Pratika MedTech is a preclinical company founded in 2021, directed towards the development and commercialization of an advanced optics technology in wound care management with our innovative embedded connected wound care technology, which enables clinicians to assess and monitor in real time the healing process of acute and chronic wounds. The problem? Challenges in wound care management. With no real-time monitoring capabilities of the healing process of acute and chronic wounds, patients are required to see clinicians and have their dressings removed. And when we look at the stats in this industry, driving a need for a change in healthcare in terms of patient monitoring, the wound care is a $96.8 billion burden on Medicare. In terms of immediate detection and treatment, during the time in between doctor appointments, there is no remote patient monitoring optical device technology that provides real-time optical monitoring of the wound to detect developing infection or complication. The solution: embedded connected wound care technology to see wounds under the dressings in real time. This is a non-invasive medical device comprising of multispectral, hyperspectral, and digital imaging with connectivity into the EHR. The multispectral and hyperspectral imaging can provide bacterial saturation, oxygen saturation, and temperature saturation levels so that clinicians can detect based upon the color waves, the condition, and capture detections of complications in advance. Within the device is cloud connectivity. On an inpatient monitoring basis, we utilize Wi-Fi antenna technology to send images directly into the EHR for clinicians to review and diagnose. When the patient is released from the hospital setting, we utilize remote patient monitoring, or mHealth, mobile health private cellular networks, through the FDA-approved carriers. It's the first imaging device embedded within dressings, and we're in the same class as MRI, CAT scans, and X-rays. From the FDA standpoint, we're all about reading film. From the Kenobi Martins team, we have a scalable phase 1 and future phases that encompasses optical, curative, therapeutic, diagnostic, and cloud innovations. Currently, we have 17 USPTO allowances under optics, device, connectivity, and computer-related matter, including AI and ML. The ability to execute is the core competency behind the Pratika MedTech team. On the clinical research side, we have Tala Harke, formerly with Massimo, and on the CTO side, we have Samer Shreem, a PhD in bioelectrical engineering from the Beckman Institute. On the FDA regulatory side, we're utilizing RQM Plus, And on the reimbursement coding side, we are also utilizing RQM+. And in the cloud technology area, we're utilizing AWS Health Platform as well as Galen Data to take us from the hospital, clinician's office, directly into the EHR, and through Epic and Cerner. From a business model standpoint, the revenue stream comes through reimbursable codes under Medicare, CMS, CPT, and private insurers. It is a $500 cost for the device per episode of treatment at a $100 cost, plus a subscription-based imaging model supports additional revenue for clinicians and hospitals. Commercialization will be through group purchasing organizations and integrated delivery networks that sell to the healthcare markets. Healthcare savings, length of stay, cost reductions from early release to reduced readmissions can add up to $16,800 per week per device. And if we're preventing serious chronic complications, we can save hundreds of thousands of dollars. We make hospitals and clinicians money. The global market opportunity for medical imaging cameras is $3.9 billion. The US global share of 46% is at $1.7 billion. The competitive landscape consists of imaging cameras that are used in clinical environments, hospital environments, doctors' offices, and they're handheld or they are part of a system, but they all require to see the patient and to remove the dressings. We have clinical data supporting our projections. Technology targets high post-morbidity surgical site infection wounds, which impact 30% of the 50 million surgeries performed annually in the US alone. We're seeking seed funding at the $500,000 ask level to complete our 9-month runway to achieve our pre-commercialization milestones. We are on track to have a successful 2025 where we have FDA clearance, reimbursement codes, and pre-production for a pre-commercialization launch. Pratika MedTech is creating a new market category of embedded optical devices in dressings connected to the cloud. This is a breakthrough in the $3.9 billion medical imaging camera market.
Thank you very much, Thomas. We will leave this up on the screen for a second, and I'll tell you that also Pratika has a roundtable tomorrow, actually every day this week between 8 and 10 a.m. Please join the roundtable between 8 and 10 a.m. every day this week for additional information about Pratika and their technology. Also, please visit Pratika's booth, exhibit booth, for additional documentation and videos about their products and information about their technology as well. Thank you very much, Thomas. Next, we will go to RT MicroDX.
Morning. This is RT MicroDX, the AAA diagnostic company that stands on 3 important pillars: affordable, accurate, and at home. Now, half of the global population lacks access to basic diagnostics. This results in millions of people being either overtreated, undertreated, or not treated at all. The reality is, without access to affordable and high-quality diagnostic, many patients will get sicker and illnesses will take longer to treat. But particularly in the US, when it comes to testing and diagnosis, we have an access problem. The average cost of a sick visit is over $300 due to high deductibles. Plus, a third of the Americans don't even have a primary care physician to see when they're sick. And on top of that, it can take up to 72 hours to receive diagnostic test results, making the process unnecessarily long and extremely challenging. That's where we come in with the AAA diagnostic solution, being affordable, accurate, and at home. A lab in a palm of your hand that is easy to use, affordable, and available over the counter, giving you PCR quality results with access to diagnosis and treatment without ever leaving your home, all for an average price of a copay. Unfortunately, many of the home diagnostic solutions on the market have failed because they have relied on complex electronics and costly devices in order to work. Our solution is inspired and tries to emulate the simplicity and effectiveness of the pregnancy test, a reliable test that is not only affordable, but it's also single use, easy to use, and easy to read. Now, the magic in our innovation lies in our proprietary pH-sensitive polymer that triggers a visible result on a simple lateral flow assay strip. This approach allows us to provide a highly sensitive molecular test in an affordable and user-friendly format. The simplicity of our platform means that we can deliver PCR quality results at a fraction of the cost and absolutely zero complexity. And let me show you how it works. We start by mixing our sample with our reagent master mix and the target primer mix. This mixture undergoes an isothermal amplification method that we have chosen to be LAMP. Now, in the presence of the pathogen, a natural change of pH occurs. As you can see in the graphs here below, we can see a clear change there's a clear drop of pH when the pathogen is present. That is where we bring in our polymer, the foundation of our innovation, which reacts to the pH change of that reaction. The polymer here, which is in the form of a bead in which we have encapsulated gold nanoparticles. Upon the pH drop of the reaction, that polymer will dissolve and release these molecules that signal a simple lateral flow assay strip, which is our diagnostic readout. Now, developing a new test for a new target only requires us to change a primer mix and the sample prep on the upstream of the system. The downstream of the system remains exactly the same no matter what we use for sample matrix or any indication. And with that, we've developed this platform to be versatile in addressing a broad range of diagnostic needs in large markets for any indication that currently use PCR as a gold standard. And we've put it all in a working prototype for both positive and negative controls. Now, for our beachhead market, we are using saliva for the detection of strep throat. We aim to combat antimicrobial resistance due to improper strep antibiotic prescription and reduce kidney and rheumatic heart disease due to untreated and undiagnosed strep. Now, based on our research, we can assess that saliva is an effective method for detecting strep using DNA amplification. And the formulation we have developed for strep in LAMP using saliva shows high sensitivity and specificity. Now, our solution is designed to be affordable and accessible. We aim to keep costs low so we can have the tests available at retail for as low as $20. Now, for our go-to-market, we are focused on B2B licensing agreement with pharmaceutical companies, diagnostic manufacturers, and labs. By licensing our technology, we allow the partners to manage all the regulatory and compliance responsibilities while we focus on the driving innovation and product development. Now, we stand out in the competitive landscape of diagnostic testing by offering highly sensitive molecular testing for home use. Now, while antigen tests are affordable, they often suffer from low sensitivity, making them less reliable. While molecular tests have high sensitivity, those are used at point of care. Although reliable, they require a visit to a healthcare facility, making them less convenient. Our AAA diagnostic solution stands out by being low cost, highly sensitive, offering accurate and single use in a disposable solution, thus bridging the gap to testing and diagnostic access. To date, we have completed our proof of concept, developed a working prototype, and filed for 2 patents. Our immediate focus is to complete the development of the platform while conducting pilot programs with strategic partners before we start securing B2B licensing agreements to bring our solution to market. We have assembled a highly experienced team with over 75 years combined expertise in diagnostics, biotech, and commercialization. We have the tools to make it and to bring it to market. We are also proud and excited to share that through the Starfinder Lab program, we are now working in close collaboration with Roche Diagnostics to accelerate the R&D and the go-to-market strategies. We are currently raising $2 million as a convertible note for our seed round, which will bring us the completion of our diagnostic platform. My name is Natalia Maman. I'm founder and CEO of RT MicroDX, and I ask you to help us to bring the future of home testing here and now. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia, very much. Please reach out to Natalia. She is available online as well as via chat and via appointment booking as well. Okay, next is Senogard.
I'm Diana. I'm the CEO and founder of Senogard, and I'm here to share with you some breakthrough technology in treating breast cancer. Senogard is a startup company developing an alternative to radiation following a lumpectomy. When a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer, she has 2 choices: a mastectomy that removes the entire breast, or a lumpectomy, which removes just the tumor, but with the lumpectomy, you must have radiation and kill any possible cancer cells that might have been left behind that might cause a recurrence. Usually, when a woman has lumpectomy, the tumor is excised. She goes home, she waits for a week, 3 weeks, and then goes back for radiation every day for 6 to 8 to 10 weeks.
I was diagnosed in 2019, and I had breast cancer surgery in December of that year. And after that surgery was healed, I was recommended for 11 weeks of 5 days a week for radiation. For the 11 weeks of radiation, the company I had worked for had given my job away to someone else. I don't wish radiation on anybody.
Showed that 28% of breast cancer patients do not get the standard of care. In other words, they don't get a lumpectomy radiation because they either can't afford it, it's too far away, they don't want to lose their jobs, they're fearful of the radiation.
Senogard's solution is to provide intraoperative cryoablation therapy. The procedure is performed at the time of lumpectomy by the surgeon immediately after the tumor has been excised. No radiation or special team is required. No multiple follow-up visits are necessary. There's no cosmetic or clinical damage, no side effects, and less than 50% of the cost of radiation therapy. It's affordable and accessible for all, truly bridging the disparity in healthcare access. The global market opportunity is over $2 billion. Right now, only America and Europe are performing breast-conserving surgeries. The rest of the world has not been able to have that as an option because they don't have radiation therapy. There is now interest in breast-conserving surgery in conjunction with the Senogard product in the rest of the world. Senogard has a very experienced team in women's healthcare. Myself, I've been in the breast cancer industry for over 20 years. Dan Wittenberger, our Chief Technical Officer, is an expert in cryoablation and has 94 issued patents. Dr. Franciscati, our Chief Medical Officer, has assisted many companies in bringing a medical product to market. Finally, Rob Finmore, our Chief Financial Officer, has had over 25 years of financial professional leadership. Our go-to-market strategy is directed towards our 2 target audiences. The first audience are the 2,500 breast cancer surgeons themselves. The second audience are the breast cancer patients. We've done this in the past where through social media, we drive them to a website that educates them on what Senegard does and directs them to a surgeon nearby. Our business model is very similar to the razor and blade model. We offer hospitals the Senegard cryogenerator as a one-time purchase, lease, or rental with a given amount of probes monthly. And then each individual procedure will require a proprietary single-use cryoprobe. We will also offer annual service contracts. Our competitive landscape includes radiation therapy. It also includes several other technologies that have been tried, but none have been effective. The only other competition we have is cryoablation of the tumor itself, but the tumor has to be 1.5 centimeters or less. Let me talk to you about our projected financials. While going through the FDA clearance is going to take some time, we tried our best to build that into the model. We anticipate 5 years from today that Senegard will have a gross profit of over $80 million, and that's on only an 8% market share. Our phase 1 study showed very promising results. That prompted the National Science Foundation to provide us with $1 million for a phase 2 study. Coupled with another $1 million, we can get through the FDA clinical trials much quicker. In summary, we're raising $1 million with the deal terms of $1 million pre, $5 million post, using a SAFE with 20% discount and a $5 million cap. We have not started the round yet, nor do we have any soft commitments. We've previously raised $250,000 using the National Science Foundation grant. The founders have supplied $30,000. The intended use of this capital is to finish the prototype, expand the IP, and get the regulatory process going. Our monthly burn rate is nominal for R&D because it's all funded by the grant. And the consultants are deferring their compensation. So the length of cash we've got is 2 years for R&D on the grant and 6 months of non-grant operational costs. We only have one board member right now, currently recruiting new ones. Thank you for this opportunity to tell you about Senegard.
Thank you very much. We have next Snark Health.
Hi, a new way to pay for healthcare. My name is Edwin, CTO and co-founder of Snark Health. And today, I would like to show you what we've been building on, where even patients will be able to see a doctor at $0. The problem of access and costs is not just unique to Kenya alone. This is a global problem, and high costs for patients are causing bankruptcy or premature death. So what we're building is basically a platform that is connecting patients, doctors, insurers, donors, and healthcare services to allow, to allow for private data sharing and payment via blockchain technology. So this means patients will be able to see a doctor independent of their insurance status and at a cost of $0. So we're bringing together basically multiple entities, facilitating coordination and just, spreading the financial risk, basically. We're transforming how patients access and pay for healthcare. So that means these are built around patient and doctor, independent of their site of care, whether it's remote or in person. And because of our data monetization feature, where that means patients can consent to be part of the platform, they'll be able to, in exchange of their data, they'll be able to fund their healthcare today. So this gives even more doctors more flexibility, and that means we're increasing income for doctors because then there's a wider pool for funded patients. Like, for example, this patient who's used our platform had to choose between paying a doctor, that means could mean missing a meal. So, and shouldn't be able to afford healthcare in another way. How do we make all this happen? The three components that are connecting this is the revolutionary checking account, which means the data is funding the checking account for healthcare today. And then we have our health savings vehicle, our Hippocratic coin that it's a savings vehicle that will be able to pay for healthcare in the future. Then at our risk contracting, where patients and doctors have the first choice to function as the payer. So our Hippocratic coin, it's designed basically to come in when, let's say, you don't have eligibility for any government-sponsored insurance or employer-sponsored insurance. And this is going independent also of your nationality. That means you can access our platform anywhere in the world, and you can use the Hippocratic coin to pay for your healthcare. The data unit economics around our data cell, just to give you a quick overview, if the patient, let's say, decides to take part of the revenue, data revenue, and still pays for consultation fee, then that means, if the patient doesn't pay, that means seeing a doctor at $0, then our return on revenue is between $25 and $84. We make money on taking a percentage on the healthcare consultation, and then we also take a percentage on the data monetization. The traction is already there. We've set a pace. We have onboarded over 7,000 patients. We're working with over 300 plus specialists. And right now we're working through partnerships that we hope to scale quickly in the first quarter 2025. The market opportunity is massive. We're looking at 28.4 billion revenue, just this on the data side. Our team, Henk, I met him 25 years ago. He's a physician, 18 plus experience. I'm leading the tech. I'm a telecom engineer with a global experience both in Italy, UK, and Kenya. And then Dr. Karen's a medical director, and Shamit is on our advisory board, and he has had multiple exits in Silicon Valley. So basically, this is my favorite slide. What is our next to go market? Build on partnerships. That's important. Build on our tech, which is nearly done. The components that are very key, especially for the data capture, it's nearly done. And also launching our Hippocratic coin. Our product is live, both on Android and USSD for folks who don't have internet connection. And we're seeking $10 million for 24 months runway. And just to answer a couple of questions around this raise is our deal terms, we're combining between debt and equity for the second and third tranches. So that means the first one will do 20% for the first million, and that putting it at 5 million valuation. And of course, we've been bootstrapping until now, and we'll continue bootstrapping until we actually raise. And in terms of how long runway, with 24 months, that's fine. We burn at around $3,500 a month. But what we plan to do with the raise is to grow our team, scale our country expansion, and then risk-based contracting with government payers. Thank you so much, and I look forward to your support to help healthcare more accessible, more affordable to millions out there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're gonna go a little bit out of order for now. We're gonna switch to Vicardia Therapeutic with Michael.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Michael Kokausch, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Vicardia Therapeutics. We are in the process of raising $1.4 million to close out our Series A round of a total of $5.4 million. $4 million has already been raised, and we are hoping that we can close out the $1.4 million by the end of January 2025. The proceeds will be used to initiate the phase 2 clinical trial and to continue the development work for other compounds and expand our patent portfolio. GP531, our lead asset, is a breakthrough cardiovascular drug with global market potential. We are supported by the key opinion leaders in heart failure research and treatment, and we have a robust intellectual property program. Our management team has a record of taking startups to exit. Scientific Advisory Board consists of the stars of the heart failure constellation. It is led by Dr. John Teerlink, professor of medicine at UCSF, and by Dr. Tony Sabah at the Henry Ford Health System. Our board of directors is led by Mr. Prasanna, the chair of the School of Public Health in Manipal University in India, and our board of directors include stellar leaders in heart failure research and management. GP531 is a novel first-in-class therapy that has been studied extensively in 14 preclinical studies, 3 phase 1 studies, and 1 pilot phase 2 study, all with positive results that give us the confidence that we should proceed to the phase 2 clinical trial, which will start in the second quarter of 2025. We will study 255 patients at 52 investigator sites in the US and Europe. Why target acute heart failure? Primarily because no new drug for acute heart failure has been developed in the last 30 years, and as a consequence, no new advances have been made in the treatment. As a example here, 1.2 million patients are hospitalized each year, and many of those go through a discharge and readmission process that results in high mortality rates and high comorbidity rates at tremendous cost to the healthcare systems in the US and globally. The current treatments are inadequate and consist of beta blockers and ACE inhibitors and diuretics, and even with the newest approved drugs such as SGLT2 inhibitors and the GLP-1 inhibitors known for their treatment for diabetes and for weight loss, all of these drugs are treatments for the symptoms of heart failure, but not for the underlying cause. And all of these drugs, even as good as they are, the patient still progresses from chronic to acute. And once hospitalized, the patient is faced with loop diuretics, intravenous vasodilators, and inotropes as the principal treatments for acute heart failure. GP531 shows the promise of being a complete replacement for inotropes, improving the outcomes for these patients. The opportunity for us is that in the US and around the world, there is a high incidence of hospitalization for chronic heart failure patients that have developed acute heart failure and require hospitalization. And this is a very large market for us. In addition, we have additional products in development for chronic heart failure, metabolic disorders, and neurological disorders. We have a robust patent program with 40 patents issued and 6 patents pending. Our revenue model indicates that the total serviceable market is roughly $15 billion. And if we are able to achieve a 10 to 30% market share, the growth curve for our revenue is illustrated here, growing geometrically over the first 7 years of drug approval. As I mentioned, the phase 2 is not only a pivotal study scientifically, but it is a value inflection point. And these tombstone ads indicate that the valuation for phase 2 assets with positive results command a very strong interest from major pharma companies. That concludes my presentation for today, and thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to present to you.
Michael, thank you very much. please reach out to Michael for any questions that you may have. Next, we will go to Therapina Labs.
Welcome to Therapnia, the intelligent sleep apnea and snoring treatment. Obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA, is a condition where the sufferers stop breathing while they sleep because their upper airways block the respiration. This is a life-threatening condition which is associated with many comorbidities. Nearly 1 billion people suffer from OSA, but only 20% have been diagnosed so far. This is a little known but a huge public health issue. The common treatment prescribed for obstructive sleep apnea is continuous positive airway pressure, or CPAP, which is a pump that pushes air through a facial mask the user has to wear every night. About 50% of the patients can't tolerate it and thus remain untreated and are looking for a solution. Therapnia treats obstructive sleep apnea by inserting a support device that prevents upper airway collapse. Our patented design automatically inserts the support only after the user is asleep and respiratory events were detected. Since the user is asleep and insertion is very slow, he feels nothing, and this was validated in a clinical study. The device comprises a controller strapped on the chest that drives the support on a dental plate. Not only does it eliminate sleep apnea and snoring, but it also collects a lot of clinical data to the cloud. Of the nearly 1 billion people suffering from sleep apnea, about 40 million do not tolerate CPAP and thus go without therapy. Of these, more than 12 million patients suffer moderate or severe sleep apnea and badly need an alternative for CPAP. We have developed a very ambitious business plan, which we will gladly explain in detail in a meeting. We did it before, we can do it again. The company plans to do direct marketing to the most important sleep specialists in China, United States, Japan, and major countries in Europe, while sales will be mainly done on a B2C basis. Initial device price will be $1,000 and the supports are disposable, priced at $150 and must be replaced twice a year. We are currently raising 4 million euros to complete our first 2 products. We assembled a AAA, highly professional, experienced and devoted team.
Avi, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time and attention. Looking forward to working together.
Thank you very much, Avi. Please reach out to Avi and either online or via email or through the chat as well. Thank you very much. Next is Ting Therapeutic.
Hi, my name is Jian Zhou. People call me JZ. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Ting Therapeutics. We aim to develop better solutions for hearing loss. I hope in the next 5 minutes, I would convince you that chemotherapy-induced hearing loss represents a large unmet medical need. And our drug is highly potent, and our approach is de-risked and has significant upside potential. Today, we're seeking the seed round of $1.5 million to fund IND preparation. Ototoxicity, or cisplatin-induced hearing loss, is the lowest hanging fruit in the hearing loss therapeutic space. Cisplatin remains to be the gold standard for chemotherapy for cancer for decades. Approximately 500,000 American cancer patients each year receive cisplatin chemotherapy. This has been the standard care in testicular and head and neck cancers and various other types of cancers. Unfortunately, 60% of these patients develop hearing loss. The current therapeutics is called sodium silyl sulfate, or STS, that has been approved recently to only treat the pediatric patients with cancer with localized non-metastatic solid tumors. However, the STS binds covalently to cisplatin, therefore inactivating its activity, its anti-tumor activity, and decreasing overall survival among patients. Team Therapeutics has since developed lead and better molecules after screening more than 10,000 molecules, and we have identified multiple superior drug candidates that are 100 to 1,000 times more potent than STS. We have validated their effects in multiple animal models and published 15 research papers in high-profile journals and had garnered $6.5 million of non-dilutive funding from NIH and DoD in SBIR grants. Our top compound, called TT002, is shown here to preserve hearing in mouse in vivo. The y-axis shows hearing loss in dB, and x-axis shows different frequencies. In contrast to cisplatin alone in blue, cisplatin plus TT002 show a significant reduction in hearing loss. TT002 thus represents a rapid path to market because of decades of safe administration in humans. It is currently used around the world to treat intestinal parasites. It has favorable regulatory reviews as it has been approved by FDA in 1982 and only in 1996 voluntarily relinquished for commercial reasons in the United States. Importantly, it does not interfere with cisplatin efficacy in vitro and in vivo. Our near-term focus is to develop proprietary IV formulation to overcome the poor solubility and high variability in the GI absorption of the original compound. And we hope to co-deliver with cisplatin through IV infusion. And we can further strengthen barriers to competition. Our initial indications are testicular and head and neck cancers. In testicular cancer, the populations are very homogeneous among young men. And for both cancers, cisplatin is the standard frontline of care. And up to 70% of those patients develop hearing loss. By raising 1.5 million seed round, we hope to get IND approval to reach clinics in 2026. And we hope to reach the market in 2030. We have strong proprietary positions because we have clear freedom to operate and have a strong protection against off-label use. Team owns outright pending patents on methods of treatment. We have clear research reports and we have proprietary IV formulation. The market is enormous. Testicular and head and neck cancer markets have 3,000 or 30,000 annual patient population, which will translate into a total addressable market of $1 to $2 billion a year in the United States. And this market can be rapidly expanded to the entire cancer population that are treated with cisplatin. And this can reach above $15 billion annual market. It can also be further expanded into aminoglycoside-induced hearing loss and noise-induced hearing loss. Our team consists of 2 co-founders with a combined academic and a co-OL experience of over 30 years. And I have been the professor for 25 years and 5 years as a department chair in the medical school. Recently, I quit those positions to become a full-time CEO of Team Therapeutics. And our team also has 3 additional industry experience experts with regulatory and pharmacology and formulation expertise. In addition, we also recruited advisory board members who are oncologists and ENT doctors from premier universities. In this round, we want to raise $1.5 million, among which $400,000 has been softly committed and requiring matching fund. I'll thank you very much. I'll be very happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. And last but not least is Vasculonics.
Hi, I'm Michael Coleman, Chief Business Officer for Vasculonics Incorporated. We're an Indianapolis, Indiana-based startup developing a first-in-class oral therapy for pulmonary arterial hypertension. I'm proud to be part of an experienced team of scientists and drug developers that has many decades of experience spanning the early development through clinical trials and commercialization of billion-dollar blockbuster drugs. We're led by our founder, Dr. Jay Paul Singh, who was a scientist at Lilly and then at Indiana University, where he developed the technology, and our CEO, John Northrup, who's a Lilly veteran and has had several successful startups. Pulmonary arterial hypertension is a serious disease that affects women more frequently than men and typically has onset in midlife. Once diagnosed, life expectancy is only 2 to 3 years. The underlying pathophysiology of PAH is that the pulmonary arteries progressively remodel such that there's intimal thickening leading to significant pulmonary vascular resistance and right heart failure. There is significant hospitalization, both primary admissions and readmissions. The market for PAH drugs is over $6 billion, and current drugs primarily treat the symptoms. Our product, which we call VN1032, is a unique first-in-class oral modulator of the aryl hydrocarbon receptor. This receptor is key to the pathophysiology of pulmonary arterial hypertension. Our product will selectively antagonize the aryl hydrocarbon receptor to reduce the inflammation and fibrosis that leads to vascular remodeling, and also acutely reduce asymmetric dimethylarginine, which is indicated here by the acronym ADMA. This is a toxic metabolite that is known to cause vasoconstriction and is elevated in PAH patients. Supported by more than $5 million in competitive grant funding from the NIH, we developed a very strong non-clinical data package to support VN1032 in this indication. Here we see data from a rat model. On the left panel, one can see the histology in the lung of animals treated with a control vehicle or orally with VN1032, and one can see that the pulmonary vessels are more open, indicating less thickening, less fibrosis. On the right panel, we can see that the animals that received 1032 have a fewer number of macrophages in the lungs. This is indicating lower inflammation, and there is improved lung function. So looking at pulmonary pressure, which is elevated in PAH, VN1032 significantly decreases pulmonary pressure. So it's acting via multiple mechanisms to address the underlying pathophysiology. So it's truly a disease-modifying drug. Our lead product, VN1032, is highly differentiated. First, it acts via a novel mechanism of action targeting the aryl hydrocarbon receptor. It's the only drug in development for PAH that targets this pathway. Second, compared to the only other disease-modifying drug for PAH, that being sotatercept from Merck, our drug is orally available and acts via a distinct mechanism. Third, we have applications beyond PAH. Based on non-clinical animal studies, we believe VN1032 has potential to treat idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, heart failure, and chronic kidney disease, all indications with large markets and high unmet medical need. As I mentioned, the core technology was developed by our scientific founder, Dr. Jay Paul Singh, when he was at Indiana University. That technology has now been exclusively licensed to Vasculonics. We have one issued patent and multiple additional applications covering compositions and methods. We recently received a $2.2 million SBIR Phase 2 grant for development of VN1032 in the PAH indication. We're seeking a $3 million equity round to complement this SBIR funding, leading to an IND application within the next 2 years. Almost all the funds from both the SBIR grant and the seed round that we are seeking will go towards IND enabling activities for the VN1032 compound in PAH. So to summarize, we're developing a first-in-class disease-modifying oral therapy for PAH with multiple follow-on indications possible. We've been supported by significant non-dilutive grant funding and have raised about $250,000 in investment capital. We have 2 years of runway with the SBIR Phase 2 grant that we just received, and we're seeking, as I said, $3 million in preferred equity. That would be at a pre-money valuation of $9 million. The round is open now. We have interested investors. Please contact me if you're interested.
Thank you, Michael, very much. Thank you, everyone, for being part of the Life Science Day today. It's been a long day, starting with webinars and panels all day today. I hope you enjoyed the educational part of the program, and I hope that the investors have enjoyed the presentations that were available to them. Thank you all for all the founders and the hard work that you put in order to make these presentations available. We tried to squeeze as much as we can during the day. It took about 3 hours to get us here today with all the presentations. Again, the platform is open for founders and investors to connect. Please use the tools. Please ask questions if you have questions. We will be available again tomorrow for AI, the day after for deep tech and climate tech and clean tech, and then the day after that would be the other technologies. Thank you all for being part of this today, and we will see you tomorrow. Please join the webinars. Tomorrow there's a great webinar on AI, and also 2 other webinars on HR or how to build your team, and also a webinar on what are the top 20 questions that investors are looking for you as a founder to answer. We will see you in the morning. Thank you very much and have a great day.